Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system planet Earth, North America, the United States of America. No longer California, Los Angeles to be pseudo-specific. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Monday, September 22, 2025. And this right here that you happen to be watching is called, you know it, you love it, you wait for it, you enjoy it, you participate in it. It's called the TNAM Daily Show on the new American media because the old American media has failed you. Thank you for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, share with your friends. Click the share button and text one of your smart friends right now. One of your family members, one of your neighbors. Go, hey, we dump the news on the table and talk about all the things happening. Join us. We're trying to expand the show. Of course, we're going to discuss the Charlie Kirk Memorial in Arizona. Sold out, overflow. I mean, an absolute who's who. If you want to judge your life by the impact it made, I'm sort of blown away. I didn't realize just how impactful Charlie Kirk was. And the more I learn about him, the more it's obvious to me why he was taken out. He was too successful. He was too effective, and he really was a future president. He could have been next in line. He could have been vice president for J.D. Vance, for that matter. Yet I'm getting a message from one of my friends. There's no way you don't believe systemic racism exists. And Charlie Kirk would always ask, what are you saying? And then they would say, well, you know, it's a racist society. Like, what are we talking about? In 2025, tell me something that a white person can do that other people can't. What is the answer to that? That's literally the message I just got. There's no way you don't believe systemic racism exists. You know, it's a continuation of the Victim Olympics, and it doesn't help anybody. I had the opportunity to foster a young black boy for about half a year so that things could stabilize in his life, so that just I helped out because someone needed to. And I told him all the time, man, don't get wrapped up. Don't get wrapped up in all this crap where you're looking in the rear view mirror, complaining and making excuses. Like, look, the only thing you have, all you've got in this world is your balls and your word, and I don't break them for nobody. Ooh. I got to work on that impression. I know I can do better. What's that from? TNAM quote of the day. QOTD, question of the day. Where's that quote from? I said this Victim Olympics of, oh, things were so bad back in the 1800s, back in the 1900s, pre this, and oh my gosh, there's. All right, let's learn about history. Cool. Now let's just focus on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. You can't control any of that shit back there. You got what's in here, and you got what's in here, and you got your hustle, you got your focus, your dedication. Still arguing over the legacy of Charlie Kirk, trying to figure it out. I've seen several posts that will say things like, I don't know, people were talking all this trash about the guy. Now I've streamed over like 50 hours watching this dude, and it's like, I have literally no idea what you're talking about. He's making points that are literally the exact opposite of what you're saying. Trash Panda knows the question of the day just not off the top of my head. See, if it wasn't Monday, and because Kenneth is usually late on Mondays or Tuesdays. Mondays always, Tuesdays sometimes, I think that's it. That's a Kenneth joke right there. Kenneth style. Kenneth Stiley. But it's good. It rubs off on us. We need to have fun here because the world can be really dark and really painful. And whoo, that event yesterday, man. Iryna Kirk. So we'll unpack. There's another question of the day. Did you watch the memorial? Did you watch some of it, all of it? I mean, was every high-ranking Trump cabinet official and vice president, like, they were all there? There's a lot. It was powerful. But then you read the comments and, I guess what? We just got to stop reading comments? Or we just need to start ignoring the trolls? Don't feed the trolls? Call out the trolls? Like, what is the strategy with trolls? People are targeting her and her children now, like laughing about that. Like, let's go get them. Like, what sort of demonic presence is that? Oh, she's faking it. She's such a bad actress. Like, I don't even know where these thoughts could come from to say something like that. To pretend these two didn't care for each other. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And there really is no getting along with the people that are going to say things like that and act that way. And they will never stop pushing. They will never stop fighting. They will never stop abusing because they're tyrants. They're totalitarians. That's what they accuse you of. It's very funny and very telling that they will always accuse their opponents of what they do. And Iryna Kirk, man, the stuff she had to say, I don't forgive Anthony Fauci for taking my brother away. No, I'll let Jesus handle that. I'm not in the business of that. Maybe I should be. They say, oh, an eye for an eye will leave the world blind. Yeah, well, turning the other cheek is going to get you smashed into a corner and destroyed. Can't be a good shepherd to your flock if you're going to be inept and unwilling to stand and speak and defend yourself. Offensive maneuvers are, that's a whole other situation, but defensive, there's no universe where I don't believe in, well, that'd be a double negative. If I don't believe in not allowing self-defense. Iryna Kirk, she says she forgives the guy. Well, here's another problem with that. There's a lot of people that don't believe that's the guy. And the investigation is actually expanded. Are you aware of that? Trash Panda saying the music was powerful. It had me crying my eyes out. Yeah, I was less crying. I'm sort of like, shit. I cried the day it happened. I probably a day or two later on this show, just trying to process it. And I'm sort of numb, traumatized, as we all are, numb. It was more like as I was watching, tears were falling out of my eyes. I'm kind of cried out. I don't know if that's a thing. But the darkness and the evil, it's Christians are supposed to forgive. I kind of feel like that's something for God to handle. Exacting justice feels more like a human thing. And Charlie Kirk's been so demonized, taking a couple of clips and trying to say, like, it's really just trying to justify it, to laugh at it. In the education system, Mike Benz has done reports, like they're compiling lists of all the people that are, because they're not just being assholes, which is absolutely the starting point for laughing, mocking, or celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You start at asshole, and then you move into tyrant. You call into domestic terrorist. You fall into active insurrectionist, pushing for violent measures instead of beating somebody at a ballot box. Educators and medical professionals, according to Mike Benz, through the roof. Highest percentage of people that are laughing, mocking, more so than any other problem with it, because you're allowed to be an asshole. They're justifying and calling for more of it. They're justifying it, meaning go get more of them. And the teachers are going to rot the brains of the kids who have to sit through their gobbledygook. And the medical professionals, they get to pull the plug. Oh, you don't think that's a thing? Oh, silly you. Because they're righteous. They're so narcissistic. They think they're so right. They get to play God, which is fine because many of them are completely godless. I'm the smartest atheist in the room. No, I don't mean it's fine. I just mean it's fine to them because their God is government. Their God is the Democrat deep state. Their God is lies. They worship lies. And they know that they're lies. They think that Charlie Kirk hated people that weren't something or other. Hate. It's like he was out there calling for the assassination of all trans people and all black people and all women. What kind of world do you think, in what universe do you think Charlie Kirk was calling to eliminate people? No, that's what you do on the left. That's why your party is polling at 19%, because nobody likes you. You're big fucking bullies, and we can't stand you. You've been steamrolling us for decades and getting away with it. Ever increasing political power. Oh, you're going to get debanked. Oh, you're going to get demonetized. Oh, you're going to get shadow banned. You're going to get depersoned on social media. Oh, you're going to get fired from your job. Oh, you know what Jimmy Kimmel says? You're not going to get healthcare if you didn't take the fucking experimental vaccine. Fuck you. I don't know where the grace of forgiveness to demons comes in. I don't have it in my DNA. I don't know how anyone could have it in their DNA. Remember this? When they tried to Charlie Kirk President Trump, what would have happened then? That's what they tried to do. Who are they? Well, if you ask Tucker Carlson, well, thanks, Obama, as we discussed on previous shows. There are certain segments of people regarding anything. Oh, it's raining outside today. What's going on? Jewish rain lasers. Huh? I ordered a pizza and it's 5 minutes late. Thanks, Jews. Well, Tucker Carlson is making a pretty clear point, a pretty salient point. Pretty much all but saying it was the Jews that killed Christ and it was the Jews that killed Charlie Kirk. I'm referencing that comedy skit from Jenna Marbles. My dog crapped on the kitchen floor. Thanks, Obama. My roommate didn't do the dishes again. Thanks, Obama. She goes a couple minutes just literally blaming all these things that could have not possibly been the fault of Obama on Obama. But we are trying to find fault. We are trying to hold those people accountable. And the ones that are saying, nope, it was this one guy, this one young guy, he was the guy that did it. Nope, there wasn't a plane that took off and got rid of its transponder. That has nothing to do with the story. Nope. It wasn't any of the slow motion footage. The guy that had something in his hand that looked like something. Nope, couldn't have been that. Definitely not a team of people that he worked with and all the reports of multiple cars coming and going from that home. Nope, nothing to see there. This was a professional job. That 22-year-old didn't strike me as the professional, but it's getting pinned on him. The alleged Don't say the shooter, the alleged shooter. More questions than answers, maybe? We're all trying to sift through this nonsense, but if the people who are committing bad deeds are not held accountable, we're going to get more bad deeds. That crazy murderer in North Carolina, Iryna Zarutska, say her name, type her name, Iryna Zarutska. That was one of the toughest shows I had to do. I don't like talking about race relations. That was the George Floyd moment. This girl, completely innocent white girl, absolutely butchered by a black dude. And that's not the only time that story has played out. You might have a problem when people say, oh, 13% of the population is committing 50 whatever percent of the murders. Okay, if you have a problem saying that, what's your problem with it? The fact that it's happening or the fact that someone's noticing? Hashtag noticing. That's a loaded phrase now, isn't it? But reality is reality. And that Charlie Kirk event took that Iryna Zarutska story right off the front page. Not to say that it happened to take it off the front page. But it's interesting how things happen sometimes to change the zeitgeist, to change the narrative, to change the conversations. And that's what Charlie did, to have more conversations. We're not having enough conversations. And the people who have copied tidbits of, I mean, that guy spoke for hundreds of thousands of hours, and you think you can sum him up in a little soundbite or a little clip or a rupar someone with a fake quote, like the fine people hoax, the ones that Obama and Biden were still lying about. Obama was giving you the fine people race hoax. Obama, the biggest racial divider our country's ever seen, the most destructive racial divider this country's ever seen. If you want to take a Charlie Kirk clip out of context as a manner of justifying what happened, explicitly, implicitly. Hey, Nimbus. It's a strange time. Did you have to use your claws on me? Thank you. It's a strange time. It's dark times. And yeah, you're supposed to lead with love, and love's supposed to win. But what do you do with self-defense? Because the left are not stopping. The left are not waking up and realizing they've been duped by the devil, duped by demons, duped by the Democrats, duped by the deep state. What's the difference? Is there a difference between being duped by the deep state, the Democrats, the demons, or the devil? What's the difference? Tom McDonald had that song, "The Devil is a Democrat." That party has completely lost the plot. All they have is race, anger, and division. Danette saying, I already feel like at my job, I'm singled out on my views. I'm trying to be really quiet about the Kirk situation. They all seem to be happy about what happened. Work is a place where you're harvesting cash. You know, there's a million jobs out there. If you don't like that one, there's more. Not every conversation needs to happen at work. But yeah, when do we speak out and when do we not? I told the first church I went to, they failed me. I said I needed to get a sermon about how you speak truth to power, speak boldly up against fierce evil. And I got a stock sermon about parenting. It was literally 52 envelopes. You open this one up, and you just deliver that. That was me blowing the dust off of the envelope, if you didn't know. This turn the other cheek thing. I mean, when you're actively under threat, like we are, There's no sitting down. There's no sitting it out now. But like, we don't need to make every point. What? Can't you see I'm in the middle of a show, Nimbus? I just brought you up here. You want more food? I gave you half a can like 40 minutes ago. You want more food? All right. Let me tend to my cat. I'm going to give him some more food. Yeah, the music was powerful. I didn't watch all of the music. But I think they played Hallelujah. And if it's I wonder if I could play it without copyright problems. If it's a recorded composition that's played, then Sony BMG might own the rights to that. But if it's a performance from people in the moment and people in a crowd singing, like, I don't think that could be copyright. So if I can find that, I'll play it. Hallelujah's brought me to tears many times. I remember being in Taos, New Mexico, having gone to one of those open mic nights that I played you a clip from Casper doing spoken word. And one of the guys that was performing that night played Hallelujah, and it just hit me. And I went back and I listened to it. I found some versions on YouTube, and I don't know. It activated something. It unlocked something. It ripped my heart open. It ripped I was just, yeah. So I'll see if I can find that piece of music. But Erica Kirk says she forgives the shooter. And there's very few people that believe there was just one guy involved. What type of conspiracy? I don't know. Like, how deep does it go? Well, the story is that they've expanded their investigation. Okay, of course. Are they trying to just make this guy the lone patsy and move along? Is the father being paid $100,000 just to shut up? Let his crazy liberal son just go to jail? Did he actually do it? But who trained him? Who coached him? Who paid him? Who encouraged him? Who set it up? Provided material and logistical assistance and proper training to make it happen? And when you say make it happen, did he actually aim for what he was aiming at, or did he miss a headshot down and to the right? There's a lot of unanswered questions. And there's a lot of grace and forgiveness that I don't. I'm not sure I understand it. I'm a bad Christian. I don't understand the grace and forgiveness part. No, I do get it. Perhaps best articulated when Maya Angelou on the Iconoclasts series on Sundance Channel was talking with David Chappelle. She called him David. And Dave asked her, aren't you mad? I mean, you lived through the civil rights. They killed Bobby Kennedy, JFK, MLK, Malcolm X. They just killed these people. She's like, oh, David, of course I was angry, but I can't hold on to that anger. The anger does nothing to the object I'm angry at, but it's a poison. The longer I hold it, the more toxic I become. I can't hold on to the anger. But when you're in a football game, you're trying to figure out how to win. You're trying to make sure you figure out how you're not destroyed by your opponent. And right now, we got to figure out how to not be destroyed by our opponent. So I don't know if that means aggressive defense. But peace and love isn't going to get us out of this, because they are radicalized, they are violent, they are militant. And if there's no repercussions, they're going to see more of this stuff. They tried to Charlie Kirk President Trump. And I shudder to think what would happen had they been successful at that. So we're going to unpack the news, dump it on the table like a bunch of good little trash pandas, rifling through the rubbish, separating fake news from fact. I'm going to feed this guy, Mr. Nimbus. And we'll be right back after the introduction to today's program, the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree podcast on the New American Media. Here we go.
guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
All right, everybody. All right. Cat has now been fed. Yes, the feeding of the cats. It is a tradition unlike any others. Feeding the cats. That's been a challenging relationship. Okay. All right. Trash Panda said you watched all of it. Yeah, I watched a lot of it. But I was also live streaming the football game. Stay tuned for tomorrow's program, Strictly Football. That will be there at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mike Barra, Jim Mitchell, Ezrael Robinson, and myself, we will unpack the week of football, which will be awesome. Awesome. All right. Do I start on X or do I start on Instagram? Oh, okay. Let's start on Instagram. Let's hit refresh. These are the only stories I have? Oh, I think that's what's going on. I need to grab a couple accounts and share a couple that were put over here. All right. So this one here, this is a wild clip. A Korean man is exposing Islam on Sky News while wearing bacon. What? There you go.
Well, I mean, the reason I've got bacon on my shoulders is because the terrorists are a charming lot and they threaten to behead me every single day. So a little bit of protection. But I've got to say, I'm from the UK. We have the threat nearly every single day from Islam invasion. Our second biggest city, Birmingham, is already majority Muslim. Our mayor of London is Muslim. And the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, is Muslim. And I just have a very clear, simple message to Muslims, which is stop worshipping a pedo warlord who's the Bonnie Blue of the 7th century, sleeping with 30 Al Zoot men, who married a six-year-old and slept with a 9-year-old. And there's only one culture that pours acid on women's faces. There's only one culture that makes women cover their faces so other men don't rape them.
Yeah, well, and I think it's important to preface that by saying that the majority of Muslims don't support that we have seen here in Australia. At least we've got some great moderate Muslims, but I think it's up to them to condemn the elements of the culture or the religion that are more extreme. Now, Joey, I want to...
She's instantly trying to walk those comments back. She didn't make them. She's trying to distance herself from them. And then the voice in her ear will tell her something very quickly to speak even more boldly against that.
Bring you in here. Look, I've just been told we do have to apologize for what was just aired, those comments earlier, but we're going to continue now with our interview with Joey. Now, Joey, NATO has released new guidelines.
So they kicked him off the air,
saying we need to use gender-inclusive language. So, for example, using the...
Well, I mean, the reason
So he was kicked off. That was interesting. But if someone wants to behead you and impose their way of life on you, what are you supposed to do with that? Are you supposed to accept that? Or you draw a line in the sand and say, well, no, you doing your thing over there is one thing, but if you're going to try to mandate it over here, well, that's just a non-starter. That's an unacceptable term. And a lot of people have been told, like that lady, anytime something comes up that's uncomfortable, you got to distance yourself and say it's not happening and it's not important and it doesn't matter and it's nothing worth getting riled up about. Or is it? Where are lines in the sand? this anti-Christian sentiment, most of it is not fully understanding that Christianity is something where a large sect of Christians are taught to teach, to evangelize, to talk to other people about Jesus Christ. Christ is King, Lord and Savior. Here's the faith. Here's why it's good. Here's why it's helpful. Here's why it's good for society. Here's why it's good for you personally. Here's why it's good for you eternally. But the people who are slandering Christianity, I think that they think Christianity is supposed to dominate all other religions or anybody else's ability to worship in the way that they choose. I don't see that. I don't see that in actuality. I don't see it in practice. And a lot of people argue that it's the tolerance of the Christians that put them into such precarious situations in the first place. In Islam, it's you go to a place, you dominate, and you impose Sharia law, and you get rid of the people that are called infidels who are not on your team. They destroy you. Is that radical Islam or is that Islam? And that's been a debate that's been happening since 9/11. This is not a brand new conversation that's happening. But this faux outrage from the left about Christian nationalism, white Christian nationalism, where are they coming up with this shit? Where do they get this? They're getting it from their Marxist professors. They're getting it from the schools that are indoctrinating them. They're getting it from the media, who's brainwashing them. And it's really demonizing some really great people. Some of the best people in any society will be the Christians that say, hey, there's a way to treat people. And it's like, yeah, like I have my way and I want more people to do things this way, but what is the code? What is the Bill of Rights, the basic freedoms that we have? And will Islam shut down some of those freedoms? Yeah, they want to shut down freedom of speech, freedom of religion. It's their way or the highway. How is that compatible? It's trying to fill a gas tank in a vehicle with Kool-Aid. They're not quite compatible. And so you either go along with that or you don't. So I think Christianity is at a crossroads. Christianity at a cross. Yep, Tucker Carlson has some thoughts on that too, doesn't he? I mean, think about it. If you don't like bacon, you don't eat it. You don't ban it. Oh yeah, that's what you did to that late night comedian guy, that Jimmy Kimmel guy. There are certain FCC rules about misleading the public, about straight out lying, taking national tragedies and trying to exploit them for detrimental purposes. And Kimmel got wrapped up in that. Now you could say maybe there shouldn't be an FCC. And maybe some of these corporations shouldn't have the blanket protections that they have. That's a fair conversation to have. I mean, if a Christian doesn't want bacon, they don't eat it. They don't force you to not be able to. They don't force you to cover your face up. They don't force you to kneel down in the middle of the road and block traffic. They don't go out in aggressive, violent, offensive acts of war. There's a cultural battle right now. And you can either sit on the sidelines or you can participate, but it's not going to avoid you Putting your head in the sand doesn't mean the world stops spinning. It means that your world has stopped spinning. And you've taken yourself off the chessboard. Do you have talents? Do you have resources? Do you have gumption? Do you care about the world? Why would you take yourself off the chessboard when every move matters? And you can respect other people of other religions to do their thing, but to also draw a line in the sand and go, no, you're not going to take over and change what we're doing here. That's just not a thing. Amaryllis Bahamundi says, Erica Kirk can't carry Charlie's legacy. His entire ideology doesn't even allow women in positions of power. Huh? Y'all chanting she'll continue his work while his work was literally about keeping women silent? Patriarchy doesn't pass the mic, sis. This is what is passing for clever thought on the left. The response up here from Milo, no. Charlie just wanted women to prioritize motherhood. Milo says, I'm the one who wants women silenced. Look, if you didn't like Charlie Kirk, you're going to be very unhappy with Milo Yiannopoulos, Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes. Go down the laundry list of characters. You're going to be very unhappy with some of the other voices. You did not want to take the power vacuum away from what Charlie Kirk was saying. This is blown up. This has backfired tremendously. Our comment to this was, other than President Trump, we've never seen someone's life slandered, mischaracterized, and gaslit like Charlie Kirk. Rest in peace. I Am Leah says, Democrats are the only group on the planet that can gun down an innocent man, celebrate his death, mock his wife, destroy memorials for him, lie about who killed him, and somehow still make themselves the victims. This is what we're up against. Make no mistake. Patriot Warrior says, gotta speak up. You said Brandon Lake was awesome. Who is Brandon Lake? Was that the bacon guy? I didn't know who that was. It was an absurd thing to see on a skit. This guy says he's being threatened with radical Islamists. His life is being threatened by radical Islamists. Do you take that seriously? Well, we need to start taking this violence seriously. We're either going to live in a peaceful society or we're not. And there's not a lot of room for error on this. This black Viking here, Carlos Marquez, he asks, why was the Holocaust shoved down our throats in school, but not the 60 million Christians that died in the Bolshevik Revolution? Okay, I shared this and I wanted to ask Grok. It got me thinking. By the way, for those of you in Rio Linda, California, a reshare is not an endorsement. I got yelled at by someone who used to be close to me. They have changed, and I think it's because they're with someone who's been radicalized on the far left. Well, you shouldn't have shared that. Retweets are not endorsements. We're all adults. I don't need to say that. The show, for 13 years, it was called the Agree to Disagree Show. I've switched it to the TNAM Daily Show. And we just talk about everything. Different things are discussed for different reasons, and I'll often debunk things in real time with you. If you don't listen to the show, you can't condense somebody's existence into a soundbite. You fucking morons. Well, why did you share that? I can't believe you called for the genocide of trans people. I literally have no fucking clue what you're talking about. My heart weeps for somebody suffering from gender dysphoria. I am pro-orgasm, and I don't want you to butcher your body. chasing something you can never attain. A man cannot become a woman, and a woman cannot become a man. Water is wet, the sky is blue, and other common sense things. My heart breaks for confused people, hurt people, suffering people. You should be able to love whoever it is you want to love. You do you. Please, you do you. Don't butcher yourself, mangling your perfectly good working body parts so that you can never orgasm in your lifetime again. I am against that for you. Anybody in the gender dysphoria trans situation, I want you to be able to live your life and be comfortable and free from violence and be happy and find the things that make you happy. But we're not harming a child. Until someone's 18, you don't get a face tattoo, and you don't get gender blockers, and you don't get to chop tits off and try to splay dicks inside out to make a fake vagina. Like, please leave the kids alone. These are non-negotiable points, not out of hate, not out of anger, not out of anything other than please protect the kids from the Munchausen mommies who want to virtue signal how brave and how tolerant they are and how progressive they are. There's nothing progressive about butchering your kid. Let them figure out at 18 what they want to do, and I pray that they don't butcher themselves. And if you want to live your life as somebody else and dress in the gender norms of a different, if a dude wants to wear a dress, fine. But piss next to me in the urinal. You're not going to creep on girls, someone's kids, someone's sister, someone's mother, someone's grandmother. Stay out of the ladies' bathrooms. That's a place where they're in various stages of undress, vulnerability. Women have women's spaces. And because you cannot become a woman as a man, you don't go into that space. You also don't get to punch women in the face. Also, water is wet and the sky is blue. These are not hateful rhetoric. This is not calling for the genocide of trans people. Stop trying to twist our fucking ideology and our words. We don't mean any of the shit that you're trying to twist on us to make it, oh, well, that's what you believe. No, it's not. No, it's not. And I haven't heard Charlie Kirk say almost any of the vile shit that you're accusing him of. Also, President Trump never told people to drink bleach. You morons. The same people who lied to you about President Trump drinking bleach, telling people to drink bleach. The same people in MSNBC, CNN, etc. The same idiots who lied to you about that are the same ones who said, oh, January 6th was an insurrection. Huh? Number one, Trump was still president. You can't have an insurrection against yourself. Number two, if President Trump was calling for violence, dude, is it possible that the 600,000 people who descended upon DC saying, hold on a second, none of this makes sense. Trump was in a blowout, up hundreds of thousands of votes when those 5 or 6 states all magically paused their vote counting. Oh, and then Biden magically over the course of the next several hours and days and weeks found exactly the right number of votes to barely pull it off by a slight 0.0 something percentage. Oh, how convenient. All the bellwether cities, all the bellwether states, all the date. Nope. Biden is now the most popular president of all time. The child sniffing, unaware of where he's at puppet of Barack Obama. Yeah, that's our most popular president. Those people descended on DC to say this doesn't pass the smell test. This doesn't count. Either you got to throw out the votes of these 5 or 6 fraud states and just count the remaining ones that haven't been completely poisoned by whatever late night ballot dump was necessary to eke out this narrow victory, or you got to have a revote. One day, in person, paper ballots, voter ID required, call it a national holiday for these 5 states, shut the state down for one day and get everybody out to the polls, vote in person. There's a lot of people that were just saying, you're not going to steal our country like that. But guess what? All they did was go there and they yelled. They threw a few things. Not a single Trump supporter in that 600,000 squeezed a trigger of what all of them had, either on their persons or close to them or the ability to bring several. Not a single shot was fired. So the liars who called that an insurrection and told you that the president was telling you to drink bleach to treat COVID, and told you that the president called Nazis fine people, that never fucking happened. None of these 3 lies ever fucking happened. Just like these little clips you're sharing about Charlie Kirk to sum up his life in some bullshit frame from the same liars who've been causing you brain damage. They have been harming your psyche and your soul. If you're walking around thinking that President Trump is a literal Hitler, literally, by the way, for health and elections, go find countervailing views. CDC.gov, WHO.int, and CISA.gov/rumor control. I have to tell you that for fear of being deplatformed. Remember how the left made it impossible to live in their world over the past 5 years when Obama sicked our government on our own normal citizens for 8 years? Yeah, we remember. You kind of fucked our whole world up. Yeah, we sort of remember. This disclaimer to go to CISA.gov/rumor control for countervailing views is a remnant of that Stasi state that the deep state Democrats created. Oh, Kenneth, you're here. What's up, buddy? And John, I did get your message on the other show about some package. Don't know what that is, but gotcha. Duly noted. Hello, Kenneth. Normally you're indisposed on Mondays. Thanks for joining us. But we have got to get better than trying to summarize somebody's entire existence up in a soundbite or one particular point. It's a cornucopia. It's a myriad. It's a collage. It's a lot of things. Martin Luther King wasn't an entirely great dude because he led the civil rights movement in the 60s. He was one of the major factors. He wasn't an entirely bad dude because of the orgies and the rapes and the other accusations that are very vividly, very clearly laid out. President Trump is neither completely good or completely bad. Very few people are completely good or completely bad. I can actually look at Barack Obama and how he weaponized our own government against us, and I've pretty much decided, nope, don't care much for that guy. Wow, what a mistake letting him near the positions of power has been, because I find him to be a radical Trojan horse, Manchurian candidate, divisive racial arsonist who did his best to take America down a few pegs and punish Americans and continue pushing horrific racist DEI policies. Yes, DEI is illegal for a reason. So to my friend that's saying, hey, I can't believe you don't think systemic racism is real. No, it's real. It was pre-60s. There were still remnants of problems there. No, you didn't get the right to vote in the 60s. You got that. I believe that was the 15th Amendment. And I believe that was, let me look up because all this stuff is getting convoluted and spun into sound bites, and they're wrong. Most of the things I'm seeing that are causing the most outrage are incorrect. Got the right to vote when? Grok is very slow today. Oh my goodness. Super slow. Yeah, Grok has not been doing a good job. It was the 15th Amendment to the Constitution ratified in 1870. 1960 was about other civil rights things, but it's not like you scroll past things. Charlie Kirk was against the Civil Rights Act, or the Voting Rights. What do they say? Sorry. I think it was it the Johnson's Civil Rights Act of 1960, whatever? See, he didn't even want blacks to have the right to vote. That wasn't a part of what happened in 1960. That happened 100 years earlier. But they're trying to scramble these together. See, Charlie Kirk doesn't want us to vote. He was against he's against the component of the Civil Rights Act that monetized a absence of fatherhood, which led to entire generation being raised without fathers in the household. people learning to become dependent on government handouts instead of being in charge of their own destiny and succeeding. That's what Charlie Kirk's against. And that's been turned into Charlie Kirk hates black people. And it's so fucking stupid. It is so stupid. And it's so incorrect. You know, to some degree, I don't have a dog in the fight. But my other friend in California that was like, what about Candace Owens? What do you feel about Candace Owens? I go, what do you mean? I don't know your question. Do you support Candace Owens? I go, I don't know. What does that mean? Do I support? Do you like Candace Owens? Do you like what she says? I go, she said a lot of things I like. Yeah. I knew it. I can't stand you. You're a racist. And blah, 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 blah. They need to hate you. And the same people lying to you about the bleach hoax, the insurrection hoax, the fine people hoax, they're the same ones lying to you about Charlie Kirk. Stop fucking listening to those liars. They're getting off on the division. Just like Obama got off on the racial arson, he would set fires everywhere. He doesn't like this place. He was trained and raised by Marxists to hate this country and to take it down a few pegs. The best thing he could do in his mind was to knock this country down a few pegs. And guess what? He succeeded. In whatever the hell they pulled off in 2020 to wrestle the power away from the person that many people believe actually won that election. Yes, that's true. Many people say, many people believe. You've got to guard yourself against the people that are putting poison into your heads. There's another post from someone else this weekend. Yeah, I've been really kind of engaging with some bullshit in the past couple of days. I've been engaging with some stupidity. Did you see President Trump said that the fentanyl overdoses have killed 300 million people? There's only so many people in the country. He's so stupid. Everybody thinks he's stupid. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, see, by the way, I'm going to raise my hand and say, no, smart people think he's dumb or something like that. I go, what are you talking about? I go, whatever the number is, whether it was exaggerated or misspoken, Americans are being poisoned. They're not intentionally overdosing from fentanyl. They're mixing it into shit. That is an assassination of sorts. That is a murder. You do it to yourself. That's a self-inflicted error. You take a tool and you say, I'm done. I'm tapping out. Well, you did that to yourself. To some degree, you look at junkies and go, well, man, if you're twisting, you're tying them off, you're injecting stuff, like you're asking for it and you got what you deserve, or you did it to yourself in an overdose. Like you did it intentionally. God have mercy on your soul, but you committed suicide. Like you got rid of yourself. Fentanyl is like someone just trying to get high, but it's actually poison instead. You can argue that drugs are poison and that's fine, but a lot of people can use drugs and not die from it. And this guy was more concerned about either the exaggeration or the misspeaking or the harmful lie that so many people were harmed with fentanyl. He doesn't care. He doesn't care other than to mock Trump, ignoring the fact that we're finally cracking down on the drug trade and the poisoning, the intentional poisonings that are happening across America to everybody in our school systems, our neighborhoods, our families. It's impacted everybody. But that guy, he needs to hate Trump every day. Got to get a daily dose of hatred. In 1984, they had their daily outrage, their minute of hate. Who was the minute of hate in Goldberg? What was the person's name? Hang on. Am I not able to ask Grok questions now? And I love that when Grok screws up 1,000 times, they penalize you. I'm sorry, Goldstein, Emmanuel Goldstein. And that's what some people are saying now. It's what Tucker Carlson's doing. He's anti-Semitic. He's anti-Semitic. He's noticing. Or he's anti-Semitic. Or both. Or none. I don't know. But they need to hate you. So it doesn't matter. they will lie to give themselves the moral justification, the narcissistic moral justification they need to hate you, to call for your expulsion from society and from this realm. There's no making peace with that demonic energy. There's self-defense. And yeah, when you got to point out to employers the awful things that people are saying, the consequence culture, oh, you're damn right. You're damned right. Anyway, this person is asking, and let me click back here. 60 million Christians butchered. Let me just double check that. How many Christians butchered in Bolshevik Revolution? And who was in charge of the Bolshevik Revolution? Who was pushing that? 1917 led to the Russian Civil War. High figures often cited are between 12 and 66 million people. And that encompasses the entire Soviet era between 1917 and 1991, and includes indirect deaths or all victims, not just targeted Christians. There's all sorts of stuff I'm trying to sift through here, but this post is not entirely... Oh, let me take this comment off the screen, sorry. Actually, let me go to the comments real quick. Oh, okay, Brandon Lake was the guy singing Hallelujah. Okay. Or banned, the guy with the long hair, okay. Kenneth heard Biden used a bidet. There you go, elevating our mood with some jokes. Thank you, Kenneth. Kenneth works Monday, Tuesday, PT. What's PT? Part-time? Is that what that is? Is MLK like his MILK? Be a good ad campaign. Yeah, former president Stumblebum. Creepy Joe, as I call him. Oh, Grok is groggy today, yeah. It's a little wonky. They have like Grok 4 out, and you can test the beta version, and it sucked. Anyway. But yeah, it is interesting that, I mean, that one story was, I mean, everybody remembers that. Every single year you're bombarded with the Holocaust stories. Every single year. It's one thing to learn history and set about the path of charting your path forward, learning skills, a lot of looking backward, a lot of shame, guilt, manipulation. And you just, it builds a resentment. It builds a resentment. Why are some stories covered over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, while others are ignored? People have noticed that. Yeah, where are all the it seems like a new movie comes out about the Holocaust every year, every couple of years, another huge thing. Where are the movies about the Christian slaughter in the Bolshevik Revolution? We definitely didn't hear this lesson nonstop every year. But the number 60 million, that could be. And people argue about the numbers all the time, of course. Holocaust numbers being one of those. So lest we never forget, right? We need to learn history or else we're doomed to repeat it, or a constant barrage of trauma, a trauma barrage meant to manipulate. Maybe multiple things can be true at once. Here's Erica Kirk walking out to the stage at Charlie Kirk's memorial. I mean, every seat that wasn't roped off for national security, for security purposes. Can you imagine? I had a hard time Kenneth is pointing it out. Let me make this point, then I'll talk about what Kenneth pointed out. I had a hard enough time talking at my mother's funeral at the beginning of COVID, which is why I'm not going to let it go about Fauci. I can't forgive. I don't know how. I think justice needs to be rendered, and that's not at the hands of one lone assassin or some plot to silence somebody. I think there needs to be a military tribunal for crimes against humanity. That's what I call for when I talk about retribution. That's what I'm calling for. Is justice, earthly justice. Oh, on top of supernatural, lifelong soul trauma and repercussions. Oh my gosh, Kenneth. Let me finish my point. You're making this too cool. Okay, I gotta focus. Yes, this is a milestone today. Another tip jar has been activated on the New American Media. All because of y'all. Can I just give a round of applause? Sorry, I'll get back to this in a second. I just want to give a big round of applause, a heartfelt thank you. This is years in the running that we have been kept away, silenced from YouTube monetization. This is a moment. We got a super chat today. Is it on the screen? Yep, super chat. Look at that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, everybody. Let me do the update then. I'll get back to my point there. But I do need to click and see. Let me go back to my account and let's give you a running tally, because we're kind of flying up on 4,000 watched hours here. And that'll enable actual advertisements to go back into my videos. Oh, please, let's get that. We got 2,000 videos, millions of views. We should be able to put a 20-second advertisement in there. And I hope they let us pick it, because they'll give you your monetization back, but then you don't get to pick. At least they didn't used to do this. And I've noticed it. If you watch legacy media stuff, they'll give you like a 15-second ad and then you're right into the content. For normal Americans, they'll give you like a 17-minute infomercial. So if you press skip, you don't actually get the penny. It's like it's another snaky way to limit normal Americans from earning a living, doing what they love. You wouldn't come listen to me if I was a hateful piece of shit. I'm just trying to focus on self-defense. No, I don't want things overrun. There you go, unholy hoax. Damn those dirty Dems. What's up, Chris in San Antonio? I want you to start adding dirty. Damn those dirty Dems. Because then it's so reminiscent of damn you or damn those dirty apes. About Planet of the Apes, Charlton Heston. Damn you to hell, you dirty apes, or something like that. Oh, let me, sorry, I got to pull up the stats here. I was clicking it and then I saw that. Okay, can I get it here? Where did that go? Okay, this will work fine. Let's go to... Yeah, but here's the thing. I would love to sign up for quick commercials, 15-second commercials. Hey, aren't you thirsty? Buy a Pepsi. Next. Hey, are you tired of driving a jalopy? Buy a Chevy. Okay, next. I don't need a 3.5-minute long commercial about like gross stuff that nobody's going to want to watch. Like, just let me pick the type of ad I want on my channel. I can tolerate a 10, 15-second ad. And if anyone out there lets the ads play on Rumble, it is like tossing a penny into our wishing well. We do actually have a monetized account on Rumble. But for the moment, just getting super chats back and subscriptions, it was huge for us. Okay, I got to go into YouTube Studio. I'll give you an update on our analytics. Our views are up. Our watch time is up. Our subscriber count is up. Okay. Let me click on earn and scroll down. Yep, we're chugging along. 760 hours short. Oh, we're going to be able to get this in no time. We need 760 pennies in the wishing well to get to 4,000, which will then unlock page ads so that an advertisement will play and we'll get a penny in the wishing well regardless. Nobody has to do anything other than just letting an ad play, and we can start making money there again. Thank God. And thank you, the regulars in this bar, this fine establishment that you stumbled into today. Damn those Dems, unholy hoax. But look, we're battling them. Kenneth has the fantastic distinction of being super chat donor number 1. Who's going to be number 2? Let's make it a race. Kindle has been refired up. Kablamo. Thank you, everyone. That's super awesome. You now have super chat, by the way. It's a good day. It's a good day. And I looked back. I think 2019 must have been when we were demonetized, because I had a super chat from then. It was somebody I know well who said, "Keep up the good work," and sent something that way. That's awesome. Do the happy dance. This is all because of you. Thank you, everybody. But the point I was making before we went into that, and really this is a victory. This is a small victory. They actually let us apply. They actually granted it. They actually allowed a super chat to go through. Yes. That's a step. I said I can control what I can control. The rest is up to Google. Fine. If that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. But let me do everything I can. And everything I did was because of you. All I did was ask you for help, and you are the ones that helped. So thank you so much. The point I was making over here about Iryna Kirk, and how long is it going to take somebody to find out that she has 3 Ks in her name? I have not seen a human point that out. But maybe I should incorporate that into a stand-up routine tomorrow. Should I do stand-up tomorrow? Maybe Wednesday. Maybe not. I don't know. There's not a lot of jokes that can be made about this, but comedians are actually starting to do it. It's just there's ways to do it. You have to be good to find humor diagonally from this situation. And it does exist. It does exist. I found a few funny ones. But even maybe just pointing out, just an observational. I just have to write it properly so that it rolls off the tongue properly, so that the observation of, oh boy, wait till they find out that her name, Iryna Kirk, has 3 Ks in it. Oh. The kernel of something funny is there. I need to figure out the right way to deliver that and twist it. But it's also just a random, interesting observation. Here's another interesting observation. Trash Panda, Texas. What? I'm going to clap like a seal. It'll be the seal pandas. Wait, the seal. Yeah, seal pandas? The trash seals? That's what I meant to say. Oh my God, what is happening, everybody? You were fantastic. Look at this. And I'm telling you, Danette, Trash Panda, Kenneth, you guys give me fuel, And there are people that are subscribed to me on Patreon that I've never interacted. I have no idea who some of these people are. People have donated, people I don't even know who, regulars. It's fuel. That's so awesome. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That joke was sitting there. The Cash Pandas. Oh my God. Hold on. The Cash Pandas. Oh, I'm going to have to use, Kenneth, we got to keep using that. The Cash Pandas. Oh my God. Here, I gotta, if you're watching on YouTube, if you have the ability, I have the ability to like press the laughter button. And the algorithm knows if you're interacting with it, it appreciates it. It loves the comments. It likes the little heart emojis or the confetti or the love. I'm tapping it. Can you see that on your screen? Is it showing up on your screen? That's a question of the day. If you're on YouTube, do you see the hearts and the laughter and the confetti? I'm going to stop tapping. Okay, it looks like someone else might be doing it because I'm done tapping and it's still going. But yeah, please tap those things liberally sometimes. Liberal, 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 liberal. La, 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 infanticide, liberal, 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 liberal. That's the Alex Jones clip if you haven't seen it. I reference it often. Trash Panda loves the new American media. We love you. This is a milestone. This is like a accomplishment unlocked. Accomplishment unlocked. Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Let's see how long it lasts. I don't want to celebrate too much, but man, geez, it's about time. Thank you, everybody. This is it's good. So the Cash Pandas. Yeah, when I'll do a donation drive, we're gonna call us the Cash Pandas Activate. I'll have to make like special rings. Earth, wind, water, fire. Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. Cash Pandas, unite. God, that's so funny. The Cash Pandas. So Trash Panda there, he is number 2 for the mighty Trash Pandas. Yes, we are mighty. Oh my. Oh, there is something a brewing on the horizon, folks. Rumbling through the sky. Thanks, the Jews. That must be Jewish space lasers. Oh, by the way, are you aware that there are Jewish space lasers? The Iron Dome got an upgrade. Now they're the thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene was mocked mercilessly about discussing. Can't believe she said there's Jewish space lasers. Literal Jewish space lasers now. The Iron Dome has gotten an upgrade. Although weather warfare is a thing. I wasn't blaming the Jews there. I was pointing out the absurdity of blaming everything on the Jews. Of course, some people do believe that, and I couldn't disprove if that were happening. How would I disprove that? But when there's weather rumbling through, you do sometimes wonder, could this be something Putin or China? Or, yeah, see, because you can have other adversaries than just those people. I hate the topic. Anyway, but when the sky rumbles, you wonder, is it weather warfare? Could it be something? Weather warfare has been used since the beginning of time. We've been researching more ways to manipulate the weather, to flood people, cause earthquakes, to do all of it. But yeah, I was just doing the show and it went outside. I'm off on a tangent, aren't I? So YouTube don't totally suck. Hey, we're in a new era. Trump winning made a difference. Say what you will. The Democrats must never be allowed to sniff a position of power ever again. We cannot go back to these dark days of Biden-Obama. We cannot. But yeah, look, we're only a couple of... How quickly can we watch enough videos to get it? What do I say? 760. That should be, I don't want to say easy to do, but that should be easy for us to do. And we are growing. The show is growing. People are finding us. People are liking it. People are watching. People are commenting. Does YouTube totally suck? Look, it's a new era. Some things have changed. I think that's awesome. So yes, Trash Panda Texas is number 2 for the mighty, mighty Boss Tones. Nope, the mighty, mighty Trash Pandas. Mighty, mighty Trash Tones. Danette. Am I saying Robles? Robles? Is it more like Robles? Oh, geez, that sounds racy. Robles? Oh my, I'm so modest. Paso Robles or Paso Robles? Robles? What sounds like obols? Opals? Okay, so do you pronounce your name like Opal? Or like Robe less? Sorry, I'll just stick to Danette. That's easy to pronounce. Danette, thank you so much. Super chat. Different color super chats. This is awesome. I'm so new to this. I got to make sure This is just awesome. This is fantastic. I appreciate you all so much. And it's so easy to do. To drop a little support. By the way, I went to church again. This church, and they like kind of didn't even pass a collection plate, and they said, there's a box toward the back on your way out if you want to, and if you're a guest, don't worry, we don't want you donating anything today. I'm like, huh? I didn't quite get the sermon I was looking for. I want like that fighting spirit and like strong Christian message to like of self-defense, self-preservation. Of like, I still didn't find that message. So another question of the day to everyone out there. Have you been going to church? And if so, are you not regular? Are you regular at it? Kenneth got involved in a discussion about that. And, I don't know that church is for me. I go and then I'm like, and then I leave. And then I'll go back again. I'm like, it's a lot of singing. I get it, but I don't know. I just want the message. I don't need all the fluff. Just walk me through just a song or two is great, but man, it like both places, it's like 60% music and then 30% fundraising. And it's like a little bit of a message. I'm like, you got the percentages off. Trash Panda. Nope. Don't go. Kenneth went to church, got the 6-piece with fries. No, that's churches. Churches. Yeah, the Iron Dome is now Iron Doom. Danette goes to church, right? Not to put words in your mouth, but I think you do, right? What was I was just going to look something up. It's okay. Let's finish this part with Iryna Kirk. I had a hard enough time speaking at my mother's service, who died of a respiratory issue at the beginning of COVID, and my brother's funeral service where he died at the end of COVID from a respiratory situation. And I had a hard time speaking. I plowed through. I don't even know what I said. I don't know. But imagine having to talk in front of, the numbers are all over the place. 50,000, 70,000, 90,000, 100,000. There were multiple venues. And for this one, the floor was kind of blocked off, but all the seats were full. And then there was a second facility, a second stadium type. I don't know what it was. Could you imagine speaking to, we'll call it 75,000. I don't know the number. Actually, let me ask Grog. How many attended Charlie's memorial service yesterday? Okay. Call it 100,000. 64,000 seat stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Reached capacity over an hour before the event began. Overflow crowds filling a nearby arena and outdoor viewing areas. Some figures are as high as 100,000. Pre-event projections had anticipated tens of thousands, but the final turnout far exceeded expectations, drawing comparisons to massive political rallies and surpassing attendance at funerals for figures like JFK or MLK in social media discussions. Notable attendees: several cabinet members, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump. Could you imagine having to talk about your departed, the person you're married to? Wait, what am I doing now? I'm pulling a junior high stunt. Yes, the first one. Wait, what? No, I'm just trying to understand what the name is. I don't know how to pronounce it. Robles. But that does sound like Robles, right? Robles. Because that's how I said Paso Robles. But then I'd heard people say Paso Robles. They would say Robles, like opal. Trash Panda can't speak in front of people. Yeah, Danette said they used weather warfare in Vietnam. That is kind of exactly what I was thinking of. Also, Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way, our documentary. A lot of people were asking, was this done intentionally? To clear off this area, to mine it, to strip mine it for whatever resources are on that mountainside. They just had to get rid of all the people. Why pay them if you could just kill them? Same has been said about the wildfires in Hawaii. Same that has been said about the Palisades. By the way, the Palisades in Los Angeles has officially become a land grab. Book it, mark it down. Robles. There you go. I'll say Robles. Another sermon for me. All right. Trash Panda can't speak in front of people. Kenneth says, Trash, I can speak behind people. Waka, waka, waka. I mean, you just lost your husband. You know, you've got 100,000 people to talk to. I don't know what music it is, so I'll mute it. Man. Could you even imagine? All right, so let's go through this. The left is spreading lies about Charlie Kirk, but here's the truth, according to Real Daily Wire. Here's the lie. Charlie Kirk said, Black women don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Have you seen this one? Let me switch the... Okay, now you can read it. You've heard that. You've heard this lie. People are repeating this, right? And I go, now, I wasn't a Charlie Kirk super fan. Like I said, I watched a couple videos. It was fine. I didn't realize how big he was and how important it was to changing Gen Z. But that doesn't sound like something he would say or something that any Republican crowd would ever say out loud to be judged. Like, that's what? That's the most fringe quote I've ever heard. What? I've never heard someone say this. So in reality, this is all according to the Real Daily Wire, okay? In 2023, Charlie Kirk called out 4 specific women who continually promoted anti-white, anti-Asian affirmative action policies. Yes, that's what affirmative action was. It was racism against Asians and whites. You don't want to hear that? You need to look in the mirror. This isn't about me or you. It's about what it was. And it kept advancing. It kept progressing. It kept growing and growing. Well, bad things happened at a previous time, so we need to do bad things today to counteract that. Huh? See, you're doing the Hammurabi Code. Eye for an eye leaves the world blind. No, what I'm saying is, if you arrest the crazy, violent people in the first place and keep them locked up, they're not going to reoffend and harm other families. Iryna Zarutska, say your name. It's called justice, not vengeance. Justice. And it's self-defense to protect your community. Your community. You mean white people? No, you moron. I mean people. I lived in a Black community for 15 years. I didn't care about the white people in my community. I cared about the people in my community. I would help anybody that was under threat of loose pit bulls killing things or people shooting up houses or breaking into cars or setting things on fire and stealing and home invasions and fist fights and trash. Like all of that garbage. All I did was try to protect every resident of the community from the bullshit. There was no discrimination, zero. I don't care who lives in that building. If it's time for it to get painted, it's going to get painted. And when is it time to get painted? They're all overdue. So we're going to triage the worst of the worst, and we're going to do a couple each year, and we're going to get it done on a schedule. Such a mess I had to clean up over there. Okay, Daily Wire says here. In 2023, Charlie Kirk called out 4 specific women who continually promoted anti-white, anti-Asian affirmative action racist policies. Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson Lee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Joy Reid. Quote, they're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. We know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. Is Joy Reid a serious person? Do you take her seriously? Ketanji Brown Jackson, has she ruled on the right side of anything that's been brought before her? Have you read the stuff that she's allegedly written that's coming out from the Supreme Court? You're going, huh? Michelle Obama has been, I don't know. Show me, I don't know. And Sheila Jackson Lee. So he called out very specific people who have been constantly promoting racist policies that gave them advantages, which is racist against everybody else. So there was a lie that Charlie promoted stoning gay people. Stephen King said Charlie Kirk advocated stoning gays to death. Just saying. Stephen King has since taken down this post, saying, this is what I get for reading something on Twitter without fact-checking. In reality, Charlie Kirk was calling out children's YouTuber Miss Rachel for taking Bible verses out of context. Quote, by the way, Miss Rachel, you might want to crack open that Bible of yours. In a lesser referenced part of the same scripture, Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death. Just saying. So don't take scripture out of context, which of course was then taken out of context. Here's a lie. Charlie Kirk was an anti-Semite. New York Times says Kirk said, Jews have been pushing the same hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Reality. Charlie was reading someone else's tweet and immediately critiqued it. New York Times later released a correction. A correction was made on September 11th of 25. An earlier version of this article described incorrectly an anti-Semitic statement that Charlie Kirk had made on an episode of his podcast. He was quoting a statement from a post on social media and went on to critique it. It was not his own statement. And by the way, this is all grotesque because it feels like we're trying to justify, well, you know, if he held certain views, he deserved to be assassinated. And frankly, we need to go after 30 or 40 more of them. Someone could Rupar that quote and just have me saying, we need to put 30 or 40 more people on a list and go after them. That's not the context of what I'm saying. That's not the point I'm making. Uh-oh, breaking news. No, not a bad one for you. No. Season-ending knee surgery for DeWand Jones. They dove at this guy's knee and took him out. Doggone it. Third consecutive year he's had a leg injury. Ugh. Sorry, when I have breaking news that's terrible, I had to quickly say, no, it's not a Charlie Kirk thing, or it's not bad for us, it's just bad for a Cleveland Browns fan. Okay, here's the lie that Charlie Kirk hated gay people. Oh, sorry, there's volume here.
I just want to
He says, I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to kind of ask you.
ask you, like, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you. I'm a gay conservative.
What did I just say? I didn't I didn't only care about some people in my neighborhood. I cared about everyone in my community. And if you're in the conservative community, we care about you. I don't view myself conservative. I don't view myself Republican. MAGA is, like a different brand of politics that gets a lot of things right, but there's still a lot of question marks. I don't like saying I'm anything. I don't really have a affiliation Groucho Marx said, I would never want to be a part of an organization that would accept someone like me as one of its members. I would never want to be a part of a group that would accept an organization. Let me see exactly how they phrase that quote. Quote about being in a group. I don't want to belong to any club that would accept me as a member. Often paraphrased, 1959, when he famously resigned from the Friars Club. Although the anecdote may have been embellished over time.
I just want to.
But yeah, it's not white people in my community or Republicans in my community. It's just anybody in the neighborhood, anybody in the community. And it's nothing but love. I don't need to agree with your religion. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care what you decide that you want to do for you. I'm going to care if you're going to try to impose your shit on me. You just call my religion shit, your stuff onto me. Your stuff is your stuff that you keep to you. Charlie Kirk, I don't particularly care what you do in your bedroom. From a biblical perspective that I didn't write, it says that that's not a thing you should do. Normal people don't care about such things and don't want to see anybody get abused because of what flying spaghetti monster in the sky they choose to worship over who they enjoy participating in ejaculation with. Like, that doesn't matter to normal Americans. It just doesn't. And suggesting otherwise is the toxic brand of Obama doctrine, racial arson, sexual arson. It's just intentionally divisive and demonic. And that's all that they have. It's the only tool in their toolbox. Everything looks like a hammer to the deep state Democrats. That's all they have is division that way. That's all they got going for them. And I use that phrase, got going for them, very loosely because they don't have that going for them. So here's a lie that Charlie Kirk hated trans people.
Say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that.
Okay, this person says, I've known for a while. Trash Panda says, when will the lying media be held accountable? The FCC, there's lawsuits, there's a long overdue reckoning, but there's a lot of people that need to be arrested. There's a lot of people that need to face consequences for the threats that they've made and for condoning and trying to justify political violence and calling for more of it. There's people in the deep state that staged coups to get rid of President Trump that need to be charged. They need to be indicted. They need to be mass arrested. Yeah, where's David today? David banned? David hasn't been banned. Was David banned? Now I'm thinking like Kenneth and John Boy. Trying to make word jokes. Anyway. So they're trying. He's asking to hear the story. And this person says, I've known since third grade.
Since like third grade, and I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know, like, with the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not, what's helpful, because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you.
I just want to say I'm a transgender male.
He said, my prayer for you. Well, I think it's just that you work on what's going on with your emotions and all your stuff. Please don't just start pumping your body full of hormones that don't belong in your system. And don't go chopping parts off and just, please. Yeah, people hate him because they don't actually understand him. And a lot of people don't want to. They want to keep lying because then they feel like they're allowed to hate him. Well, if I have a justification for this kind of hatred, then I can go along with it. Well, you wouldn't want to platform Hitler now, would you? It's like, what? That's how they're thinking. There's a lot of people that don't want the truth, but it's our job to just put it out there. Just like, look, maybe YouTube is not going to have a monetization spree for me that's going to last for a while, but you know what? It's my job to at least force their hand. I can provide you the information about Charlie Kirk that you're being lied to about. Because this is why it's important. On some level, I sort of shy away from this, and I kind of don't want to really get involved too much with the Charlie Kirk stuff because, like, that's him. That's not me. Don't put your bullshit on me. Like, that is. You can judge me by my words, and my words could be taken out of context just as much as any others. If you allow me the opportunity to give you my actual policy position, yeah, well, on this day, on this show, you said that. Was it part of a larger thread? And could I more clearly articulate what I was feeling that might have come out clunky in that moment? Things come out clunky. People say things that they don't mean. People have opinions that evolve. But I think some of the major tenets of my belief system are pretty rock solid. There's not that much that has changed. But they need to hate you, so they don't want to know. That's fine. I know it's not fine, but like, if Google gets rid of my super chats, that's fine. It's not fine, but let them do what they are going to do. They can do what they are going to do. It's up to me to at least help you see some of the worst things that they've been able to come up with so that you can combat them. And I don't feel the need to defend Charlie Kirk. I'm not Charlie Kirk. Although he was more eloquent than I was in many occasions. He cussed a heck of a lot less. I don't know that I've ever heard him cuss, actually. Because the tacit implication is if you support, if you've watched 50 Charlie Kirk videos and you're like, I like that. You're evil. You're a Nazi. You don't need to have a job. You should be Charlie Kirk. We should end your life too. And you're like, what the fuck? You should have seen this guy, this guy in Los Angeles that asked me, do you support Candace Owens? And I sort of knew he was kind of setting me up. I sort of knew where he was going. It was at like the height of the George Floyd cancel culture rage. You should have seen how demonic and angry this guy got. I don't feel the need to defend Candace Owens. I don't feel the need to defend Charlie Kirk, except there's a sick justification thing happening. Like, well, if he said something like that, then he deserved what he got. Did you ever say something like that? Then you're going to deserve it next. Hey, fuck you. Out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. Go that way. That way. That's self-defense right there. Now we've crossed into a different territory. There's no turning the other cheek when you got a gun pointed at my head. Silly rabbit. That's why I'm finding it important to clarify this stuff, because it's being used as a justification to take you out next. And that's some bullshit. Nobody likes your deep state Democrat Party. You're polling at about 19%, and that's probably about double what you deserve. Look in the mirror, figure out better policies. Don't threaten us. Don't come in here with that bullshit. No, thank you. With that stoned comment, Kenneth says, oh no, Charlie Kirk meant get stoned with gay people. Okay, there's that too. Iryna Zarutska. Can't, God, we forgot about that story. And it's not just the rage bait of it, and it's not just the completely innocent nature of that beautiful little girl that was snuffed out by that demon, that violent demon. No reason. It highlights that Democrats don't protect their flock. They don't care about their communities. They don't like you. They don't protect you. They want violent monsters roaming in the shadows of your community instead of taking the violent sociopaths and putting them in a facility. Respectfully, no abuse. But if you've lost free-range privileges, you need to go. If you're a violent nut job that cannot get it figured out, you cannot be in general population with the rest of us. And the Democrats refuse to protect their flock. Shame on them. It should not have been my job to step up as much as I had to in my community to protect us from the most basic of transgressions. Yet there I was. I had to. Was Hitler a hipster? I don't know. Accused of domestic violence. So the question remains, did he hit her? There's a joke from a local comic who talks about that. I don't want to butcher his joke, but I think I'll try to tell the gist of it. It's something like people always say, hey, if you could go back in time, you had a time travel machine, what would you do? I'd go back in time and kill Hitler. It's like that, it's a trope. It's been said so many times. It's like, no, I'd go back and I'd just give him a nickname that everyone would make fun of him. I call him Shitler. Yeah, Shitler. And it would wreck up his self-esteem, and then he'd grow up and he wouldn't have the audacity to believe that he could do what he did. But even in that question, who would you go back in time and kill? People get super dark there. Like, killing the devil is one thing. You're like, okay, bye, devil. And some people say there is no real devil. The devil's within us. It's the two wolves inside of our heads, the one of devil and badness and of angels and goodness. Which one wins the battle? The one that you feed. You've heard that. Charlie Kirk was far from being a jerk. He was a good man, and I've binged more of his content than I ever have. The Democrats are the wolves watching over the flock. Yeah, they're two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. Can't have to go back in time and date Eva Peron. Anyway, that's why I feel the need to justify, or why I feel the need to defend who Charlie Kirk was, because like whatever the worst of the worst accusations don't match up anything that I've seen. I don't know where they're getting this from. And it's a sick justification because they're trying to say you should be next, trying to normalize this. And they tried to kill our president. God. It feels so much more biblical or divine that those shots missed. Well, they didn't miss everyone. Ask Corey Comparatori's family. DC Drano says, when George Floyd died, BLM organized riots nationwide that killed 25 to 40 people, depending on how you're counting them. The organized BLM Democrat riots injured 900 cops and caused $2 billion in damage. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, people organized prayer vigils and millions of dollars were raised for his wife and 2 children. We are not the same. Atlas Society shows, here's the George Floyd Memorial. It's a Molotov cocktail, egged on by the Democrats and the Minnesota Freedom Fund, Kamala Harris, bailing violent rioters out of prison. You know the thing. Maxine Waters, we need to get in their faces at the restaurants and the gasoline stations. You want to pick fights with people in public? What the fuck is wrong with you, Maxine Waters? Pelosi, I can't understand why the whole country isn't burning down. What is wrong with you? That was their plan. Chaos, try to get Trump out. Chaos, racist, try to get Trump out. Man, did they push that as far as they could, and then they invented new ways to push it. Awful, awful, awful. We are not the same. Actually, I'm going to put that. We are not the same button. No, we are not. And this was Charlie Kirk was a racist. Charlie Kirk was racist. Huh? I've never heard. What are you talking about? Play him a clip. All right, play him a clip.
Stop talking about race all the time. Race doesn't mean anything. Because I look at you not as a black guy, but as a human being made in the image of God. And
Oh, you got to hate this guy now, huh? He's like, don't introduce yourself as a gay American. Just, you're a dude. You're a person. Like, I don't need the qualifiers. Nobody needs it. Like, don't do that to yourself. If you're looking for racism everywhere, every day, you're going to turn over enough stones to find some, you're going to eventually find something you got to point your finger at and go, that worm is racist. Why? I don't know. I need something to be. I got to be outraged because my teachers told me it's everywhere. And you know what? I walked into a store once and someone looked at me and kind of kept their eye on me, make sure I didn't steal anything. Are you aware that most shop owners don't want to be stolen from? And that happens to a lot of people. And are you aware of the fact that robberies do happen all the time? Regardless? I don't know. In 2025, there's nothing a white person can do that everybody else can't. There's not. Oh, it's systemic. What's systemic? Just do the things that'll set you up for success. Don't get arrested. Don't have kids out of wedlock. Graduate high school, and you're going to be on a wonderful path toward potential success. Leave it there. Charlie Kirk was concerned about Ray's cyst. Ray Epps had a cyst, the Ray's cyst. Heckles is out of the picture. You're so glad who's Heckles is out of the picture? Heckles? But yeah. Race doesn't matter. Stop it. Focus. That's exactly what I told the kid that I fostered. I'm like, buddy, I don't know what it's like to be black, and I don't know what it's like to raise a kid or have a kid yet. I'm like, but dude, don't swallow the poison that the world's out to get you. Just prove them wrong and kick ass. Like, just be good. You'll succeed. Like, there's no barriers in your way that aren't in mine. It's good choices or bad choices. Don't make bad choices. That's a great message for everybody.
I want to know what you bring to the table. Are you good at the job? Are you better than your competitor? Because let me just pause for a second. I just want you to hear out what we believe is that when you talk about race all the time, you start to resegregate society based on tribes, and you lose this idea of e pluribus unum. all made in the image of God, out of many one. And yes, we have made many mistakes in our past, but we were getting closer as a country in my childhood as being not obsessed with race. We've become more race obsessed over the last 10 years, especially the last 5 years, which is why we're seeing the anti-DEI movement, which actually ends up hurting people of color more than.
Okay, this is one time I caught him being not clear. He said that's why we have the anti-DEI movement, which ends up hurting more people of color. He's not saying the anti-woke, anti-DEI movement is hurting people of color. DEI was hurting people of color. When you started finding out that people, just call it non-whites, non-men, non-white men, were being prioritized and bumped up artificially to be your teachers, your bus drivers, your pilots, your surgeons. Now you start looking at people who are not white men as potentially, possibly, or likely inferior, because you know that the DEI policies put lesser qualified people into that position. Meaning, if a football team like the Cleveland Browns, by the way, huge win yesterday. We're going to talk strictly football tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. I just finished my Strictly Browns show. You can find it on YouTube. If the Cleveland Browns were looking for a quarterback and they said, well, we are going to exclude the Big Ten. Oh, they've had it too good for too long. Those evil Big Ten quarterbacks. And imagine that the best quarterbacks are coming out of there, or some of them are. Not all of them are. Being in the Big Ten doesn't make you better than anyone else. It just means that some of the quarterbacks in that group might be the best one for the job, but you're going to eliminate them right off the bat. All you're looking for is the best quarterback to lead the team. That's all you're supposed to care about. You don't overlook or bypass somebody just because they're a white man. And white women have faced this, and straight people have faced this, and Christians have faced this. It's not a lot of the other way around. There's no policy that's, I mean, how far back do you have to go? To the 60s where you find some Jim Crow? 100 years before that, to, you know, the right to vote and all these sorts of things? Like, what are we even talking about in 2025? It is such an antiquated, outdated, fictional universe created by the race hucksters. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help people like, say, that the 10-year-old young man that I had to foster. It doesn't help someone to believe that the world's out to get him. It doesn't help him to believe that no matter how hard he works, the odds are stacked against him and he'll never succeed. Then he's never going to try. And the only way that you're going to succeed is by trying. It's super racist to put limitations on people and to convince people, hey, there's no sense in you even having a good senior season in the Big Ten because nobody's going to draft you. They decided as a league they're not going to draft quarterbacks from the Big Ten anymore. Why? Well, because too many quarterbacks from the Big Ten have succeeded in professional football over the decades. Huh? If you're a better quarterback that's coming out of the SEC, then you get the job. I don't want the best quarterback from the Big 12, the SEC, the MAC conference. I don't want the best quarterback from a particular group. I want, well, you need to have representation. No, I don't. I just want the person that's going to get the job done the best. That's it. Black guy, white guy, straight, gay, none of it matters. It shouldn't matter. It's illegal for that to matter. And isn't that what we were told since the 60s? None of that stuff should matter. But affirmative action's been sitting there creeping for a long time. Righting past errors. Oh, yeah. Yeah, by being wrong today, you're going to make things right in the past? What is that? That's not a thing. But it sort of felt good. And you're like, well, you know, a little bit of a leg up. I don't know. I mean, you know, it hasn't been tough or hasn't been easy. It's been tough. Yeah, it's tough on everyone. You don't get to discriminate like that. Oh, heckles. Yeah. Kamala Harris. All right. Race doesn't matter. Haircuts do. What? What is that now? I'm missing some of the context of some of these comments. Race and haircuts. But it's not supposed to matter. But anyway, Charlie here's not saying the anti-DEI thing is going to hurt black people. DEI hurts because, look, I went to COVID. During COVID, I went to a doctor, rather. And it was this lady. I don't know. Give me a doctor. What am I going to pick one? Like they give you a list. I go, I don't know any of these people, whoever. It was a woman. It was a black woman. I judged her because she was trying to peddle medicine instead of what a doctor is supposed to do, is figure out where you're at, assess it, and then make a recommendation. And hers was just to make money, to push this and probably get a commission check, right? They get bonuses if they keep over a certain percentage. I've read all these stories. Different health networks are probably different in the way that they're bribed or rewarded for pushing medicine on people. But I judged her instantly for being the type of doctor I'm not interested in seeing. I don't want a drug dealer. I don't want a drug dealer. I just want to assess the current situation and figure out the best path forward. That's all I want. I don't want a drug dealer. No thanks. But in the DEI world, you look in DEI terms. Okay. It's almost weirder because then you start thinking, well, hold on. If the cards are literally stacked against a white man from holding any position, well, then if there's a white man in any position, they must be exceptional. So that's weird. I've never had that thought before. I just thought there's a human. Okay. They must know what they're doing because they're in that position. I never had the thought that a white man would be superior. See, you know what they're going to do? They're going to chop that apart and they're going to say, hey, I thought that, what did I say? Never would have. Never did. Oh, I think I said never did. I think that white people would be superior. And you clip that quote out of context and then you pass it around to the angry mob and go get him. He's a white supremacist. He thinks white people are superior. You go, are you literally retarded or just a demon or a retarded demon? Where are we at on the scale? Because I said the opposite. Like when Trump said, and I'm not talking about the Nazis or the neo-Nazis who should be condemned completely, but there were a lot of people on both sides who said, keep the statue, and some said, take it away. You don't get to pull a Rupar and cut people out of context. And you ask them in the moment, like, where are you at on this? How do you feel about this? Then listen to what they say. The left needs to have demons. They need to have monsters to attack. Don't let them. That's why I'm calling this stuff out as much as I am, because we're all at risk. They're all pushing violence right now. They don't have winning ideologies. They don't have good ideas. They don't have sound fiscal policy. They don't have sound border policy. They don't have anything. The only best thing that they have is they get to push killing babies. A literal blood sacrifice to whatever demons want dead babies. And if you want to have an abortion, you want to do your thing. It's a tough issue. But in a society this large, it should probably be allowed. It should probably be an option on the table. And it should not be glorified. You shouldn't be dancing around making comedy skits out of it like that lady on Saturday Night Daily Show was. Or Comedy Central, I forget the girl's name. Safe, rare, and effective. Isn't that what Democrats used to say before it was like, no, you should kill babies even after they're born? You're like, what is happening? Take that one issue away. I don't know a single issue that any percentage of this country is going to participate in. The Democrat policies don't work, and they're toxic to the people that like buy into it. And I get it. If someone was constantly telling me I get free shit for being white, I could understand why I'd want to like, hey, well, they got my, all right, they're in my corner. I'll take some free shit. At the expense of your soul, at the expense of your ambition, of your independence, of your, no, that's not a good thing. And that was Charlie Kirk's objection to the civil, what was it called? The Civil Rights Act in the 60s. It broke the family structure, giving incentive if the dad wasn't around, and giving your kids to the government for 8 hours a day so that those radicalized teachers, not all teachers are radicalized. Yes, some of them, a lot of them. You got to protect your kids from the radical indoctrination. Anyway.
And stop talking about race all the time.
I like that. Yeah, we're the human race. All right. Did you see that? Here's breaking news. Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Beep, 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 beep.
News, Trump and Musk have seemingly reunited today, sitting together, shaking hands.
Oh, there's music. Shaking hands and conversing at Charlie Kirk's memorial in the presence of 200,000 attendees. See, I love how the numbers change every time. But there were millions of onlookers, that's for sure. They're chatting it up.
Breaking news.
So, did the Charlie Kirk event mend fences between President Trump and Elon Musk? Elon accused Trump of bad behavior with Epstein. Funerals will give you a little bit of a perspective on what's important. Keep your eyes peeled on that. And so as you look across Europe and you see Europeans saying, we're being abused by people that have invaded our country and they're trying to force their way of life down our throats. We don't want that. We didn't ask for this, and you're not going to do it. Here's an FBI agent, John Guandolo, explaining Islam. Because as I said, whatever you choose to worship, that's between you and that energy. Like, that's a you thing. But if you're going to try to come in and tell me what I may and may not do, you're going to try to force your way upon me. The only biblical thing that Christianity is forcing is like, do not kill. Yeah, that can get into the babies thing because your body, your choice, but that's not your DNA. That's shared DNA. That's a brand new creature that is not your body. You have the biggest responsibility in the world to carry a human in you. It's incredible that we can self-replicate. We're self-replicating robots. Think about that. Imagine if Elon could build a self-replicating robot. Isn't that what humans are? We're self-replicating. Like, yeah, Christians want to take over and force you to live under their way of life. It's like, don't covet, don't steal shit, don't kill people. Oh, no. Is there anybody pro all that? What's the worst part of a Christian-led government? We're going to have laws that say don't steal and don't kill. I mean, you can't make a law to not be jealous of something else or coveting something else, but you take the point. Anyway, but someone worshiping whatever flying spaghetti monster in the sky they deem appropriate is different from an invasion, an overthrow, and a caliphate.
The entire purpose of Islam, according to all Islamic doctrine, is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate, and under that, Sharia or Islamic law is the law of the land. That's it. Islam is no more complicated than that. Islam breaks the entire world into two parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam. And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims. So let's just put that on the line. And so we're here talking national security issues. We have people here that are running for the office of President of the United States, and we have to begin there. And what I would put forth is that since, and actually prior to, but since 9/11, our entire national security apparatus has been unprofessional in its approach to this war, from the 4-star generals to the office of the president, to the national security staff, to the leaders of DHS when it was created, the FBI, the CIA, and other agencies. Because we have said this has nothing to do with Islam, despite the fact that our warfighting doctrine says when you analyze an enemy, you start with who he says he is and why he's fighting. And 100% of this enemy that we're facing, from the jihadi in Chattanooga to the 9/11 hijackers and everybody before and in between, have all said we're Muslims waging jihad in the cause of Allah in order to impose Islamic law and establish caliphate, period. So that's what it is. And if we look in Islamic law, authoritative Islamic law, the kind you get at mosque bookstores, not at Barnes & Noble, you will see that 100% of them say that jihad is warfare against non-Muslims. And it's total warfare. It's not just guns and bombs. It's psychological warfare. It is political warfare. It's subversion. It is the whole 9 yards. It's total warfare, something that our DOD has not been practicing. I would say you'd have to go back towards Reagan administration and maybe even beyond that. Complete and total war against non-Muslims.
So Europe is facing this situation, and parts of America are facing this situation. Doing your thing is one thing. Forcing other people to do your thing is different. All Christianity is going to force you to do is not steal, not kill. Am I missing the boat? Is there something that I'm leaving out? That in a Christian country, a Christian-led country, a Judeo-Christian set of guidelines, ethics, morals, dogma, legal code, it's just like, just don't be an asshole. It just means don't be an asshole. I'm all ears, though. If it's more than that, I'm listening. But there is a rabid anti-Christian thing that's out there, and it's been exposed. The mask has come off. It's not even hating Charlie Kirk. It's hating Christianity. And I don't get it. I don't get why some people are so triggered by that. Anyway, this is pretty great. Who is this here? Oh, I'm not following this account. Let me follow. Connor McShane. Okay. Is he a comedian? Maybe. Let's take a listen. Here's the FBI intern coming up with those texts. Here we go.
Fuck. No. Stop. I'm literally shaking. I forgot to finish the confession texts. No, I forgot. I know I can't get drinks. I forgot to finish the confession text. Okay, fuck me. What if the start was like, hi, lover. It's your roommate. Still using she, they? I do want to use a lot of Gen Z slang. So I have, hold fast, my love. I'm still in Orem a little while longer yet. It's your roommate again, by the way. Just right so that way it just, yeah, it sounds youthful. Then I think the roommate would be shocked. So they could just say like, what? No, but with like 12 question marks. Okay, yeah, I think that's good too. Okay, at the end, he says like, delete this, delete this, delete this. I wish there was like a subtle way to say how long he's been planning it. So maybe the roommate asks something off the cuff like, how long have you been planning this? And he just sort of answers and gives all the details. We talked about like where the weapon was and what he did with it and how he left and he's gonna go back to it, how long it's been. But I'm just gonna throw in something about how like he's worried his dad will be mad at him. You know, he's 22, so he's like worried about his dad probably. He's probably like mainly worried about his dad right now. This is looking good. I'm gonna throw it in ChatGPT just because I feel like the grammar should be perfect. I just feel like his grammar would be like really like perfect right now. Great. I'm gonna go ahead and send this to the BBC. Oh fuck. No. Stop. I'm literally shaking. I forgot.
I'm gonna type this should be published in Not the Bee, where the Babylon Bee does actual stories that sound so ridiculous that it's not actually a skit. It's not a comedy bit. Van Man here. Do you know Van Man? He makes some good quality products, I believe. Good ingredients, no toxic stuff, deodorants, and different healthcare problems. Products, I think is what I was aiming for there. Van Man says, I've been noticing a lot lately. Just noticing things. And now noticing intensifies. Are you familiar with the term noticing? Noticing is when you are discussing, noticing inconvenient, uncomfortable facts that some people don't like to talk about, but facts don't have feelings. But certain groups that are implicated by facts don't like you noticing, and they get really angry. Which groups? Well, you can notice that on your own. Trash Panda noticed that. Kenneth, you got chills from what? Or when the guy was doing this? Or what was that from? Anyway, been noticing. Allie Beth Stuckey here says, since Charlie Kirk's murder, the stoning of Stephen has come to mind many times. He was murdered by angry men because he preached the gospel. At the end of the passage, we read that Saul approved of his killing. Saul then goes on to encounter Jesus and become the greatest Christian missionary to ever live. Now, every time I see vileness from Ilhan, AOC, and so many others regarding Charlie, I pray for their repentance. I pray right then that Jesus would convict them, transform them, and use them the way that he used Paul. May it be so. I'll say, may it be so button. And someone asks, and who were those angry men by chance? Anybody noticing? Oh boy, here we go. This is Erica Kirk. Oh man. Brace yourselves for impact. DC Drano says, easily the most powerful moment of Charlie's memorial.
That young man. That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Yeah, that's great.
I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. love for our enemies, and love for those who persecute us.
I couldn't imagine forgiving that level of issue. I'm sorry. I couldn't imagine forgiving that level of evil. Read the word tissue and that came out. I'm a bad Christian. I don't know how to forgive evil. I get what Maya Angelou said, that you have to drop the hatred and the anger because it's a poison that'll destroy you if you hold on to it long enough. Like you got a radioactive isotope, or like there's a comet strike and you pick up a rock and it's glowing and it's radioactive. It's like you need to set that down and walk away from it. It will end you if you keep holding on to it. Kenneth, sorry, I don't forgive him. The Lord can if he will. That's exactly how I feel. Trash. Nope. No can do. She is better than I. Tissue time. Ugh. Ugh. That was tough. And she's tough. You know, I watched this and I got the feeling of watching like a coronation. Did you get that feeling that it was almost like royalty now? Like we were watching a king and a queen thing, or like a prince and a princess thing, some Great Britain thing. I definitely had those vibes watching that. This was all different. You know, and it was tough. It was like the vibes were, it was part MAGA rally, part TPUSA rally, part sorrow, funeral. It was all sort of mixed together. Trash Panda says, we have to defeat evil, not forgive it, or it will never stop. Chris says, even as a Christian, I'd never forgive. You're a Christian as well, Chris? Your namesake? Can't spell Christian without C-H-R-I-S. Oh, that moment was tough. This is from Van Man. This lady's asking Charlie Kirk, what's this bit for? What are you doing?
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults. The left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in all this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we...
But it also encourages others to speak boldly. I've mentioned this before. I've had many messages. By the way, if the show cuts out, I don't think it's space lasers. Then again, it could be, but there is a weather incident occurring, so just we have some spotty internet from time to time when it rains, when it storms, and I think we're in a storm. Mossad got you. I've received the message. Different platforms, different ears, different people. You know, people watch because I I'm saying things that other people are thinking, and they don't want to say it publicly. They're afraid to. They know what would happen if they did. I mean, Danette, you sort of kind of hinted towards some of that, and there's a strength. And I've also had messages from people not just saying, I wish I could talk as frankly as you are, but I can't for whatever reason. And then other people said, you've inspired me to do something. Cool. That's partially the point. I don't want to do this forever. Maybe I do. I mean, I love knowing what's going on. I would rather not have to be at the center of the culture war, because it's so stupid. Everything's so obvious. I don't like having to repeat myself. I get bored. I get annoyed having to repeat myself. Sometimes I feel like there's nobody that's going to listen, or nobody's going to change their mind, and why even bother? But that's being black-pilled. I understand that. But yeah, you're encouraging all these students to find their voices, and that's admirable. And I just don't get these mobs of people that think they get to bully. They're bullies. They're dorky bullies that have been bullied, so they want to bully back. That's what this is. Bunch of dorks, emboldened, narcissists with mental conditions, narcissism, extreme narcissism. I feel a certain way about a certain thing, so therefore everything must be that way everywhere. That's narcissism. That is a condition. That's a malady. That's not a good thing to aspire to. Anyway, he says they put the videos on the internet.
Put on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
Yeah, you silence conversations, and that's when you have violence. And he's been fighting against that violence the whole time, and it eventually took him out. It's disgusting. They should be ashamed. A. Gene Robinson says he appears to be a black dude from his profile. He says, I've sat through over 50 hours of Charlie Kirk's videos as an ethnically black American. Not one racist word. Not one. What Democrats do is cut snippets, strip context, flip the script, flip the context, switch the context. The war on drugs just blue rag bugs, but they call it politics. They rob us, and it's obvious. You see, to pay for more campaigns and more lobbyists. Who's something like Cain to Abel, who was slain, then labeled job security. I'm trying to repeat some of that Casper quote, that Casper spoken word stuff from Taos, New Mexico. I played it last week, I think. Yes, they're Chinese spy thunderclouds. Exactly. You have the Chinese spy flies. Unholy is a Christian Catholic. I just wouldn't be able to forgive. I'm seeking justice for my mother and my brother. I hope they would do the same for me if someone took me out, like Fauci did to them. So the Democrats cut snippets, strip context, and shove sound bites at the same gullible slob audience who are too lazy to fact check. This isn't exposing racism. It's manufacturing lies to spark division. Or just a regular day for a liberal pushing an agenda, says somebody else. That's well said, though. I like that. You want to know how to quiet liberals about January 6th?
You name even one day that was deadlier than January 6th.
Yeah, any weekend in Chicago.
Not a single shot fired from the MAGA crowd. The one shot fired was a black dude blowing up a veteran white mother. She was trying to climb through a window, and she got executed for it. Judge, jury, executioner. We said that about Iryna Zarutska. If you exchange the races, you had some white demon, and guess what? White demons exist. There's no bounds. There's no limits. People want to spin everything into a race issue are so stupid, but if you spun that story, and if there was some crazy white demon that butchered a innocent black girl on a bus full of white people and nobody stopped to help her for several minutes, they would have burned Charlotte to the ground. Not the same. Prayer vigils, candles. Not the same. So yeah, the execution of Ashley Babbitt by that black dude, the Capitol Hill police officer. He just so happened to be black, but it's like, all right, well, let's reverse it. Let's always do the reverse game. Well, what if this happened differently? If George Floyd was a white dude who was ODing after stealing from a store using fake Monopoly money, a fake dollar bill, fake 20 or whatever, and he ate fentanyl and overdosed, would Minneapolis have burned? No, you would have never heard his name. The cop knee on the back, it looked like the neck, sort of neck, shoulder, back, that general right around their area. No, the Democrats certainly wouldn't have been able to push that. Although it was against a cop, and cop might be worse than white in their book. Because they view white people as bad. They view men as bad. They view straight people as bad. Or subhuman, rather. And maybe the most subhuman is the cop for some reason. Because they want their communities to be ravaged by idiots. 5% of their community causing 95% of the problems, and they'd rather keep the problems than just arrest the bad guy. It's kind of stunning, but yeah. Larry David music.
Name even one day that was deadlier than January 6th.
Yeah, any weekend in Chicago.
By the way, prayers to Dennis Prager. He had an accident and he's been debilitated. He's paralyzed, mostly paralyzed, partially paralyzed. Long road to recovery. He can't really talk. It's not good. So yeah, prayers to Dennis Prager. He's another sharp thinker. He's Jewish, right? Once again, I don't care. Jew, non-Jew, Muslim, non-Muslim, Christian, non-Christian. Just be a good person and don't force your shit on me. Yeah, well, you Christians are forcing. Don't steal, don't kill. Like what else are Christians forcing upon you? Okay, question of the day. Can you please tell me in the comments, what am I missing? Where's my blind spot? What do the frothing, angry leftists say that Christians are doing that are so bad? In a Christian nationalist country, what do they say is the problem with Christians? They say, don't steal and don't kill. That's common sense. Water is wet, the sky is blue. What is their big concern? Or is it just that the mere knowing that Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, King of Kings, the Christ is King, or does that just like rankle the demons in you and you just lash out? Because it just sort of seems like, do your thing. As long as your thing isn't robbing or stealing, do your thing. I don't get I don't understand the Christian hatred. By the way, you don't understand hatred? Take a look at this hatred. This is a hilariously important, telling, comedic video. What you're about to see is two women, and the one on the right verbally gets into it with the girl on the left. And then she realizes something very important. Yeah, I love Dennis Prager too. He's just an interesting brain. Interesting, intelligent person. Watch this video, people. This is so telling about the woke mind virus. This is what you're up against.
Oh, I'm scared. I'm really scared of you. You're ugly as shit, too.
Oh, I'm scared of you. You're ugly as shit, too. Woman in red's like, huh? What are you talking about?
Against them. That's why you're in Canada. Oh, okay.
She goes, I'm against them. And he said, yeah. She's got a, whatever that Middle Eastern thing is, the Wiz Khalifa, what do they call it? Not a burqa, not a sarong, a balaclava. There's different names for it. Now she's hugging the person that just said, who she just told, you're ugly as shit too. Let me hug you. She made a mistake. She thought this person was on the opposing team, so she was a demon to her. And now she's trying to hug it out because they're on the same team.
Could you imagine thinking this way, hating everybody that doesn't agree with you?
None.
And trying to be hurtful.
And by the way, Christians are not ugly and hurtful to the people around them that aren't Christian. They'll testify. They'll say, hey, would you like to come to church with me? Can I pray for you? You want to pray together? There's no forced conversions. That's not a thing. Oh, yeah. What about the Crusades? The Crusades were to repel the Arabs pushing Islam to dominate, much like they're trying to do in Europe right now. That was the reactionary, defensive movement to get the repelling army of invaders the fuck away from them. Oh, they were trying to dominate Christianity in every land. No. They can do missionary work. They can go give you a Bible and preach about what things are. They don't behead you if you disagree with them. Are you out of your mind? Am I missing context? Is that something that's been happening in Christianity and I'm just too dumb to understand it? I don't think so.
Trying to say nasty things, but as soon as you find out you have the same beliefs, you're okay with them. This is a horrible way of thinking and a horrible way to live.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has a different opinion than you, you don't need to hate them. You don't need to belittle them or talk nasty to them. What part of this is okay? And to just brush it under the rug like she just didn't call her ugly as hell. So awkward, so weird, so inappropriate, and no need.
And sad.
Come on, grow up.
Oh, I'm scared. I'm really scared of you. You're ugly as shit, too. No, I'm against them. That's why you're in Canada. Oh, okay.
I mean, guys, this is what we're up against. Joey Manarino says, there are liberals protesting Charlie Kirk's funeral. Read that again. They're protesting a funeral. How in the world do you protest a funeral and still think that you're on the right side of anything?
I think
someone close to me got in an argument with me saying, oh, well, I'm involved with a teacher and your rhetoric, I'm worried somebody's going to shoot up my school. I'm so scared that you're calling out teachers, that all teachers are bad. You shared something that said all teachers. No, I didn't. No one said all teachers are bad. Most teachers, many teachers, whatever percentage, radical, Marxist, anti-American pieces of garbage. Yeah. They need to be rooted out of their positions of power so they can stop causing brain damage to the kids who are so eager to please and get a good grade that they'll regurgitate your radical Marxist gibberish. But no, nobody on the right has a single time ever advocated for a school shooting. You goofball. This is someone who I care about, who apparently doesn't care about me anymore. They've gone off the fucking deep end. And I noticed it. You want to genocide trans people. What the fuck are you talking about? That's literally not a thing. It's a woke mind virus. I don't know what to do to remedy that. I really don't. But when I said no, it's not all teachers. It's just a ton of them. My lived experience, I've had a ton of them, and they need to go, especially the ones that we're celebrating, because what they're saying is violence is okay. If your bad guy is my bad guy. And that means any MAGA person, anyone that voted Trump, anyone that doesn't want open borders and endless forever wars and abuse of power going after our impressionable kids to confuse them and destroy them. No thanks. That's the harm. That's the threat. Anyway, Mike Benz did a deep dive into this. The people celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. So what types of groups? Well, shockingly enough, it's the exact same group that this person got mad that I was pointing out. So it wasn't that I was called out by this person for being wrong. I was being called out by this person because I was right. I wonder if this person knows that their significant other is a vile piece of trash that was celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't know his views, but I've watched her change into a frothing, angry leftist. I've never known this person to be a frothing, angry leftist before. They are now. So I can only assume that they're absorbing this rage from their significant other. May or may not be true, but that's my hypothesis. That's my working guesstimate. Mike Benz here tells you it's exactly what I was saying, actually.
There's a grid that's been put together by an account called Charlie's Murderers on X that has just compiled, I think it's up to 100,000 folks celebrating Charlie's death. And there was a demographic breakdown by profession. And the number one demographic celebrating Charlie's murder has been teachers and professors, I think followed by people in the public health profession. And that right there is a roadmap to the purse strings for funding.
That's a roadmap to the purse strings to funding. It's in our schools and it's in our healthcare. Oh my God. Are you concerned that people will give you bad treatment, treat you poorly, withhold treatment? Like Jimmy Kimmel said, if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't get help. You should die. Hold on. Let me get Kimmel's exact quote. Let me not be like I don't want to be like the left. He was at least insinuating that MAGA should die if they didn't get the vax. But hold on. What was Kimmel's quote about the vax and people dying? Come on, Grok. Stop being drunk. Kimmel suggested that hospitals facing ICU bed shortages, because that was the scare tactic given by Fauci. There's going to be a shortage of... I forgot my Fauci already. It's kind of sounding like a Biden. Hospitals facing ICU bed shortages should prioritize vaccinated patients over unvaccinated ones who rejected vaccines for unproven alternatives. The key line was, quote, "That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right in. We'll take care of that for you immediately. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy." Fuck you, Jimmy Kimmel. You piece of shit. My reaction is the proper reaction to that comedy bit. double-barreled middle fingers lying in the sand. Piss off. For a multitude of reasons. So if you go see a doctor and they're anything but a white man, would you be more concerned knowing that DEI has possibly pushed people who are less qualified into those jobs? Should you be concerned if you do end up going to a hospital, let alone that component, knowing how many people Mike Benz is saying are radically indoctrinated, celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk, and many of them calling for more? And if there's any little thing they could do. You've seen these posts. I've shared them on X. Black nurses saying that they withhold treatment or they're actually killing white people in their facilities. Are any of those posts accurate or truthful, proven? The thoughts out there. I never used to think shit like that before. I never realized the target on me was that bad. I would never consider, if I were in healthcare, to harm somebody of a different political persuasion or skin tone or any of that. They think that way. They're encouraged to act that way. Look at how Luigi, what's his last name? Is it Mangione? Praised in leftist circles, praised for anointing himself in his narcissistic mind judge, jury, and executioner. Praised, idolized. Did the right ever praise or idolize some asshole school shooter? Nope, not a single time. Nope. Oh, that guy shot up a church. Uh-huh. And what is the right doing? They're not making a martyr out of that person. They're calling for the death penalty because we don't want that nut job to ever get out and harm another person again. What does the left do? They cheer it on. They egg on more. Why? Can you say homeschool? Exactly, Kenneth. Teachers, professors lead in celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. So he says, follow the money.
There should be no dollars to any university who hosts any professor who endorses political assassination.
I just want to emphasize that point. That is so profound that the biggest group are teachers. The people who are educating the next generation are the biggest group of people who celebrated the public, and you noted the public nature of it, which I'm going to get there in a second, because in our hyper online age, he wasn't just murdered, he was publicly slaughtered on 4K video for everyone to watch. And I think that's another big culture shift. But that is very profound about the teachers and professors being the most likely group to celebrate.
Yes, by professional demographic. And, at first that statistic is shocking, and then you think about it and you remember, oh yeah, that's how things got this bad. Because it's a captive audience. If you want a high-paying job, this is the bottleneck that everybody gets cookie cutter squeezed through. I think there's a grid that's been put together by an account called Charlie's Murder.
All right, that repeated right there. This person said, as a former teacher, this doesn't surprise me, but it does sicken me. Yep, the Marxists come for the children first. You got to protect them. Here's the NPC and says, who told you it's okay to fire people for their personal opinions? Walks up to the NPC. You did. Reap the whirlwind. This is consequence culture, not cancel culture. Do you want to hear the dumbest thing of the day? Here we go. Jasmine Crockett. Here you go.
Understood what was kind of pushing them there. And so I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That.
Who's this guy going, I want people to know just because you committed a crime, it doesn't make you a criminal. Dictionary term from Oxford Languages. Criminal. Noun. A person who has committed a crime.
That is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Committing a crime can come for a lot of different reasons. I understood.
A lot of different reasons? It makes you a criminal, regardless of the reason.
What was kind of pushing them there. And so I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That
Poignant. There we go. Crockett. Typed, love that dude going, Like, what was poignant about that Crockett gibberish? Nothing. Doing a crime don't make you a criminal. All right. Here's Tulsi Gabbard at the event yesterday.
Saying words are violence, and dissenting voices are hushed, and those who speak of God, those who speak the truth, simple objective truths like there are only two genders in these schools, they are told you have no voice.
No, but that's actually true.
Charlie chose this arena to take these people head on, to challenge these institutions, these students and faculty, encouraging them to come, to speak honestly, bring your ideas, debate loudly, and think critically. And Charlie did this so well. He was winning, so much winning, so much so.
So much winning. Did Trump write this? So much winning.
That the forces of darkness, hate, and evil were threatened by him and tried to silence him. History shows this dark pattern that when ideas cannot withstand scrutiny, whether it's the ideology of so-called religious fanatics or political fanatics, their defenders, terrified that their weak ideas will be exposed for what they are, turn to intimidation, censorship, and violence. They kill and terrorize their opponents, hoping to silence them. But in this evil that we have experienced, that Charlie faced, their flawed ideology is exposed. Because by trying to silence Charlie, his voice is now louder than ever. His message is more powerful and impactful than ever. The truths that he spoke have spread hundredfold.
You martyred him. It was so stupid.
Charlie was fearless. But where did his fearlessness come from? The answer lies in Corinthians. Therefore, be always of good courage and know that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. We are of good courage, I say, and prefer to be absent from the body and at home with the Lord. Therefore, we have as our ambition, whether at home or absent, to be pleasing to Him. So our call to action is now. Every one of us needs to be a warrior like Charlie, to take shelter in God, to draw strength and fearlessness from the Lord who sits within every one of our hearts, to stand together, continue the mission that Charlie dedicated his life to sharpen our weapons of truth, common sense, and reason, to train, to study, learn, and to speak, exercise our God-given right to speak, and carry that torch that shines brightly because of God's love. So right now, if you feel afraid or lost, saying words.
Well, I cut it off right there. I like Tulsi being a part of this organization or this administration. Daily Patriot Report says, wait until the Charlie Kirk haters find out that their anger is based entirely on quotes taken out of context and straight up lies about him. Shame on these people. Want to see the difference between BLM and MAGA? Burn down your city. Gather to peacefully pray and sing. We are not the same. That's the comment. We are not the same button. There's no getting along with that.
Keep the money flipping.
So this person's dancing that Charlie Kirk's dead.
You can celebrate Charlie Kirk's death all you want.
Oh, there's music. But don't be foolish enough to think that it'll silence the truth, because all his death has done is wake up an entire generation of believers, a generation ready to live boldly, ready to die boldly if that's what it takes. Charlie's death is a wake-up call that we never knew we needed, a reminder that we've gotten soft. We've drifted from the truth and adjusted to what the world now calls normal, all because we've been too focused on being nice. We don't want to speak up. We don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to confront sin just because it might hurt someone's feelings. We want to be nice Christians. Not anymore. Jesus wasn't nice. He flipped tables in the temple. He called out hypocrites to their faces. He told people, repent or perish. Jesus was loving, but he was never safe and he was never soft. Charlie Kirk once said, I'm far more interested in what God wants from me than what I want from God. And he lived by that. And now there's an entire generation ready to follow his lead. We've been reminded that we are not here to live comfortably, to play it safe or be nice. We're here to live boldly, to love deeply, and to make every single day count for eternity. Ready to shout from the rooftops about the King of Kings. I mean, I don't know that people are scared so much as just resolute, saying they're coming after the nicest guy who did his damnedest. Like, all right, all bets are off. Let's go. You're not getting a nice guy. You killed the nice guy. Fuck being nice. How about we're just honest and resolute? Yeah, I don't think this is going to play out the way that the demons were hoping. Elon Musk on X said, for Charlie, and they're shaking hands. Elon and Trump. Conspiracy theory is that the fight was staged. Tesla stocks were down. Democrat voters were vandalizing Teslas. Elon was hated more than President Trump, so he had to separate him from his administration to save Tesla. Yeah. I mean, that's not really a conspiracy. Like that all did sort of play out on the timeline where that would make perfect sense. All right. So what did Charlie Kirk actually say about the Civil Rights Act? Well, I don't want to say it. Let's listen to a black guy say it.
This is what Charlie Kirk had to say about the Civil Rights Act.
Because the Democrats think if you're white, you're not supposed to talk on things. That's their, don't mansplain, don't white-splain. All sorts of gibberish, all sorts of drivel, vile racism.
If you had the opportunity, you would get rid of the Civil Rights Act?
No, I think you should have a one-page bill that says that racial discrimination based on race is illegal and will not be tolerated in the United States of America. Most black Americans don't support is men and female sports. Would you agree?
Hell no.
Yeah, I know. No, for sure, right? Believe.
You don't want men beating up on women in sports. Well, he's not a man anymore. He became a woman. You cannot become something you are not. My cat cannot become a dog. A woman cannot become a man. A man cannot become a woman, and you don't get to punch them in the face in an MMA battle. Well, no, it's a woman. That's a man. If your chromosomes include a Y, in sports you must compete with guys. That's the phrase. Learn it and repeat it. Yes. The hateful party doesn't want men punching women. That's not hateful. That's just common sense. And you're still allowed to dress how you want to dress, wear makeup, shave your legs, wear a dress, have a good old time. Just you're not going into their sauna. Get out of their locker room. Stop it. And you don't get to compete with them in sports and give them a concussion spiking the volleyball.
Believe it or not, the Civil Rights Act is now being used to keep men playing in women's sports. So the Civil Rights Act.
They're trying to bastardize the Civil Rights Act, saying it's okay for men to compete against women. That is so backward.
Act was used to help Black America originally. Totally get that. But now the way it was written is that any claim of identification, so someone says, I'm a woman, therefore I can compete in your volleyball team, they come in with a civil rights claim. And so what we're saying is, no, it should be specified to racial, not gender, all that other stuff. And there were all these other provisions as well.
Now do you get it? He was not trying to say that blacks should lose their rights and equal protections under the law. He was saying that homosexuals, the LGBTQIA plus and counting community, you know, there's 72 genders in counting. He was saying that those individuals should not have special rights. We should have equal rights under the law, but not special rights.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was.
We're supposed to pray for AOC, that she has a come to Jesus moment. Could she possibly?
A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a...
The 15th Amendment did that 100 years before. She's so full of it. I edited out one cuss word in real time. I'm trying to cut back, guys. I've discussed it with you a couple of times. Trying to cut back.
Mistake. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
This is what Charlie Kirk had to say.
AOC is so lost.
The story.
You know, I met Van Jones in 2016, and I told him we should do an agree to disagree episode. Van Jones, a member of Obama's team. I don't remember exactly what position, unofficial or official, but Glenn Beck was really going in on him. And I met him, and, you know, he was willing to have conversations, and I asked him to be on the show, and I didn't follow up on it. But Van Jones shares this story about Charlie Kirk, and it's a powerful reminder to not hold off on these conversations.
The story begins when a Ukrainian woman was fatally stabbed last month in North Carolina. The suspect is a black man, and Charlie Kirk and Van got into a public sparring match online. Kirk claimed the murder happened because she was white.
Why did Kirk claim? Why? No. Kirk did not claim that. Kirk pointed that out. You actually have the demon that slayed this innocent, beautiful young woman saying, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. I got that white girl. Literally telling you he did it because she's a white girl. And that gave him some specific racist demonic joy. Kirk didn't claim that he did it because she was white. He's pointing out that she did lose her life because that demon wanted to slay a white girl, and he got a white girl. I got that white girl. I got that white girl. I've met him too. This, the hell's his name? Anderson Cooper. I hate how he framed that Charlie Kirk claimed it was because she was white. The killer told on himself on the video. There's no dispute. So big middle finger to him for that. You come up. Come on. Come on. Come on. The whole audience is waiting for you. And I'll bring you up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Go. Wee. All right. I got you.
Van denounced that as completely unfounded. Kirk then sent out what Van calls a fire hose of tweets challenging his argument, which Van says sparked death threats against him. In the midst of all of this, Kirk reached out to Van in a direct message on X. Hey Van, I mean it. I'd love to have you on my show to have a respectful conversation about crime and race. I would be a gentleman, as I know you would be as well. We can disagree about the issues agreeably. Now, that message was sent on September 9th. Van says he did not see it until the very next day after Kirk was murdered. Van Jones just wrote a piece about this for CNN.com and is here tonight. I mean, this is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
And by the way, we can disagree agreeably. Like, Charlie Kirk was literally the embodiment. He started off roughly the same time I did. He went meteoric. I've been a slow burn. His has been just massively influential. But the agree to disagree energy of why I started doing my show, that's exactly what Charlie Kirk was about. Whoop. I regret not having him on the program. Not like I ever turned down an offer for it, but maybe I should reach out to Van Jones in light of this. Maybe. I think Van's kind of disingenuous. He comes across as fair, but I think he's pretty unfair. He takes some cheap shots that I think are, well, whatever. That's the whole point of agreeing to disagree with someone. Anyway.
we were beefing. I don't know. We were going at it online, on air. And then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying to reach you, man. What? And what was he doing? Dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy? This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagree. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay? At all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue, open debate and dialogue, even with me. Even with me.
The story begins when
I don't know if you've seen that reported, but that's very powerful. And I feel like I need to get Van Jones on the show.
Charlie Kirk openly questioned the story Israel was trying to tell the world about October 7th.
How did these guys not know this was taking place?
There's music in the background, so I have to read it. Charlie says, I've been to Israel many times. The place is a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun. That's an IDF soldier. The whole country is surveilled. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. But the last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Was there a stand-down order given? Was there a stand-down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate non-conspiracy question. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right. So the number one suspect out there to many people in the assassination of Charlie Kirk is Israel. For these reasons, if he is educating Gen Z, well, you don't want to lose Gen Z now, do you? So they remain suspect. All right, let me buzz through our X feed here. We're at American_media_. Please link up with us here. Pinned to the top of it is our Patreon link, our conversation with John B. Wells about God, Trump, Biden, the deep state, and World War III. Erica Kirk posted, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Laura Loomer says an ISIS terrorist who used to be the leader of Al-Qaeda was wanted by the U.S. government in May for a $10 million bounty for acts of Islamic terrorism, was given a visa by the State Department to come into our country this week for UNGA. The ISIS terrorist Abu Muhammad al-Julani, who changed his name once ISIS toppled Assad and Julani became president of Syria, is currently roaming around New York City with full access to meet with pro-ISIS Muslims in New York City just days after the U.S. announced a heightened threat from Al-Qaeda. Oh boy, here we come. Al-Qaeda again. What the hell is going on, says Loomer. Why is Julani on U.S. soil, and why is this ISIS terrorist freely roaming around New York City? I cannot believe this. We have major issues in the U.S., and this type of recklessness can and will get Americans murdered by these Islamic terrorists. Well, we need some answers from the administration on this ASAP. She's tagging Hegseth, Rubio, Vance, Trump, and Noem. The FBI arrested a Sacramento man in connection with ABC 10 news station shooting after an earlier release on bail. Democrats let the shooter go. The FBI picked him up, says Tim Pool. Why would you let a shooter of a... You don't let that person go. They are unwell. More Democrat stuff, huh? All right, well, here's Ryan Mata. He's got some thoughts on things. Well, there's two posts here. I'll just read it. This guy got a warning that Israel is plotting to carry out a false flag terrorist attack on U.S. soil, planning to use sleeper cells disguised as Al-Qaeda. Let's pray that this is just bad intel, but I had to make the video just in case. I'm not sending my children to die. He says they've lost complete control of the trans lone shooter narrative. The only way they can make this go away now is by carrying out a 9/11 style false flag terrorist attack on U.S. soil so that they can blame Al-Qaeda. Joshua Reed says there's a 0% chance that the shooter did it. Sorry, there's a 0% chance that the shooter they arrested did it. FBI Director Patel with an expanded investigation. Here's Charlie Kirk, legacy remembered on Real America's Voice yesterday.
So I was in line with people for 3 hours, talking to all the folks, and they were Christians, and they were happy, and they had families, and they were lovely people. And I started talking to them, and they were happy and prayerful, and none of them that I spoke to believed that the shooter that they got and have arrested actually did it.
None of them believed it.
And they are
the War Room Posse. It's 0%.
They were
0% of the people believe it was this guy. So what in the hell is Kash Patel doing?
They were angry.
Same with our chat.
They don't need that. They don't. Not saying this guy's not a bad guy and an evil guy.
Right.
But they think something, and this is why Kash Patel did announce today that the FBI has officially expanded the investigation. My big fear was you would get a lone wolf, lone gunman, and Utah police and everybody want to shut it down. I think Kash said today that they've expanded it out because we have to.
Forever.
So you're not alone if you think this doesn't make sense. I meme, therefore I am, shared this lady sitting outside at the Charlie Kirk Memorial yelling at people.
Period. She said, oh my God, that was
Yelling at people, I hope your baby dies, which is what was screamed by a deranged leftist at a pregnant woman outside of Charlie's memorial service. They're asking for help identifying this It should be what? It should be quick. It should be televised. Rotten hell. Yeah. We need to know who these unhinged people are. That could be a nurse that would check on your social media profile if you ended up in the hospital. Could you imagine? That could be a teacher. That person could be teaching your kids. You need to know who this person is. Not to go get them, but to let everyone around know, to warn them about who they are. Big difference. This guy, this Destiny idiot, says this Charlie Kirk memorial is indistinguishable from a Nazi rally, and fuck anyone who wants to pretend it's not. Adam Krigler says this is the energy that led to Charlie being murdered. This piece of filth. That guy. Brianna Morello reporting that Gavin Newsom signed a law to prohibit face coverings for federal agents. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia, what's her name? Tricia McLaughlin, Assistant Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, tells Brianna Morello, to be clear, we aren't complying. So that's an illegal law that she's saying, and we're not going to listen to it. CJ Pearson shared this. Hakeem Jeffries just said this. Remember everything about
One thing to understand, as people who are flirting with the Trump administration or doing the bidding of the Trump administration or engaging in the pay-to-play schemes of the Trump administration, the statute of limitations is 5 years. Donald Trump and this toxic administration will be long gone, but there will still be accountability to be had. And that process, of course, begins now, but it will not be complete until perhaps there is an independent Department of Justice, certainly an independent House of Representatives in Democratic hands. The Department of Justice is one of the great institutions in law enforcement.
Oh, yeah. It was great when you weaponize it against normal Americans, huh?
In the history of this country. And Donald Trump and these extremists have been destroying its integrity. One thing.
The integrity of the traitors. Yep. If Democrats regain power, they'll use the government to go after anybody doing the bidding of the Trump admin. In case you needed any more motivation to make sure these people never win an election again, says CJ Pearson. Mark Dubowitz says Tucker Carlson used the memorial for Charlie Kirk, a passionate friend of Israel and the Jewish people. A passionate friend of Israel and the Jewish people. I've watched many videos where I don't know that Charlie would say that. So that's kind of dubious you would label him that way. To spread anti-Semitic blood libels. Mark says, I knew Tucker's father, Richard Carlson, vice chair at FDD, who strongly supported Jews and Israel. I just can't fathom what happened to Tucker. You can't fathom? All I ever did was defend that country. I always viewed it as them getting attacked. I didn't like people getting attacked. I like self-defense. Why have I been open to other opinions on it now? Read the room. Look around. Are you kidding me? Andy No says a Portland Antifa member with a history of violence posted a threatening video on social media where he shoots up photos of me and Charlie Kirk. He's received similar threats in the past, but Portland police didn't do anything. Maybe FBI Portland can help. Please reshare this. Get this out there. If you're on X, share this one. Andy No is he is being targeted by these domestic terrorists. Two days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he said this. Wait, is this the... Well, here, let's just listen to this quote.
The spiritual battle is coming to the West, and the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low-crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, while also while also not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's important. We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black or white. Everybody, if you are Christian and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, these two threats are combining forces to come after us. And it's time that the church stands and rises up against it.
Yep. All right.
And comparing him to Hitler, that now
This is a school board member, Edwin Ferguson, doubling down on this.
you might be under the scope of this investigation or possibly lose your own job.
I'm not racist. I don't promote racist ideologies or anything like that. So based on my understanding of what the groundwork is, the rules of the road, shall we say, no, I'm not too worried about that.
Ferguson doesn't condone Kirk's assassination, but said Kirk made negative comments about black people and pushed back against DEI and affirmative action. The West Palm Beach NAACP stands behind Ferguson, saying the means by which you die do not change who you are, what you represent, or the things you did while you lived. All that I know leads me to say that Charlie Kirk was a racist.
If I look at 5 videos, and in those 5 videos, you say things that seem to be biased to the point of being racist or bigoted, how many more videos do I need to see before I can make a conclusion?
As a board member, you know, this guy's a role model. I don't want an investigation. Let's terminate this guy.
Willie Guardiola has been calling school and state leaders about Ferguson.
His pushback against DEI and affirmative action, would you define that as racist?
Not at all. No, not at all.
He said Kirk didn't make too many appearances at black colleges, but he welcomed discussions from people with all perspectives.
If you had a message to Mr. Ferguson, what would it be?
Go back and watch Charlie Kirk and learn about him. I'm reaching out to all the people there because some of the people haven't seen this video yet, and everybody needs to know what's going on.
We reached out to the Florida Department of Education and Governor Ron DeSantis' office, but we're working to hear back.
Anybody who wants to have an honest dialogue, then have an honest dialogue.
Reporting in Palm Beach County,
I'm definitely not stepping down.
Joel Lopez, WPTV News.
They're digging in. Dinesh D'Souza says, quote, "The Jews killed Christ," end quote, is no more accurate than saying the Romans killed Caesar, end quote. True, Caesar was murdered by a powerful faction of Romans, but other Romans supported him and took up his cause. Only in the case of Jews is blame assigned in this way. That's anti-Semitism, says Dinesh D'Souza. Greg Gutfeld says CNN counter-programming Charlie Kirk's memorial with Jasmine Crockett. If they were around to cover MLK's funeral, would they have done a segment with the Grand Dragon? Kangman Lee says we should. Oh, okay. About this stupid Destiny comment, calling the memorial for Kirk indistinguishable from a Nazi rally, and F anyone who wants to pretend it's not. Kangman Lee says we should do to Destiny what he would hate the most and something Charlie would have done as well. Pray for him without his consent. The White House put this picture out. This is President Trump looking down at the Charlie Kirk rally. And the comment says, "This is the turning point." 11.3 million views. This is the turning point. Zoran Mamdami says, my mom, oh my, listen to this. Listen to this. And look at how he's happily saying this as if there's nothing wrong with what he's saying.
Because my mother made a film called Mississippi Masala and met my father in the process of it. And at the time, she was looking for funding for that film, and she told the story. It was about a love story between an African-American man and an Indian-Ugandan woman. And she went up to a financier, and he said, where are the white actors in this story? And she said, don't worry, they'll be the waiters. And she taught me that if we don't tell our own stories, no one else will. And too often when it comes to stories about people of color, by people of color, we don't have that funding.
So always just reverse it. If a white person said this about any other racial group, progressives would cancel them immediately. Why the double standard? Is it supposed to be funny? Bitter racism is a warped payback justice? Gays Against Groomers put this out. I can almost not believe what this story is.
The reaction when people...
There's music to it. Sarah and Ben Kaplan of Berkeley, air quote, transitioned their 8-year-old girl into a boy, and they started transitioning their 4-year-old boy into a girl. Why would they do this to their children? Children. They're proud about transing, aka abusing their kids, and profiting from it by selling their story to the media. You have to protect the kids from the parents. My heart breaks. Let the kids grow up. Let them figure out what they need to figure out. Man. DeCarlos Brown's mother says that he shouldn't have been in the community. That's the one that ended Iryna Zarutska. He stayed with his mother briefly after getting out of prison and was subsequently kicked out of her home for aggression. When Democrats win, we will cancel you, says the NPC. MAGA says, oh, so nothing's changed. Mm-hmm. That's always their goal. Don't let them anywhere near power anywhere. Rob Reiner says we're in a war for our democracy and Trump has declared war. We said, so let's try to follow the logic. The left assassinates the person who could have been J.D. Vance's running mate and the next president after Vance. And Meathead declares that there's a war coming from MAGA who's fixing the inherited Biden-Obama disaster? Cool story, bro. Here's the quote from Tucker Carlson that people are talking about. You should hear it.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it. And they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted.
So Israel supporters are calling Tucker Carlson anti-Semite after he described the Pharisees as sitting around eating hummus, plotting Christ's crucifixion. They're accusing him of pushing an anti-Semitic trope and comparing it to the silencing of Charlie Kirk, suggesting Jews killed Kirk the way they killed Christ. Libs of TikTok points out this transgender activist calling to fight back with blood and wants more assassinations and hopes to make conservatives afraid to talk for fear of being killed. LGB, etc. terrorism is a massive problem. Mike Lee said, as Charlie Kirk presciently said a few months ago, assassination culture has no place in America. We must reject it emphatically, unapologetically, and consistently. Confident Cash and Bongino will look into this manifestation of it. Yeah, maybe. C3 says 95% of legacy media coverage of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is positive. 95% of legacy media coverage of Charlie Kirk is negative. One man was an illegal gang member, human trafficker, and the other man was a Christian father working to make America a better place. So telling. Amuse reports a group of black women knew their 2020 study claiming black newborns were twice as likely to survive under black doctors was false. Yet Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson still cited it in an affirmative action case. The lead author allegedly plagiarized a subordinate's work and used faulty data, but the study was still used to justify lowering standards for medical school admissions and hiring less qualified doctors on the false premise that white physicians were killing newborns. Is this real life? Here's a story. Gays Against Groomers said a public school in Michigan transitioned a 12-year-old and deliberately hid it from the girl's parents. She was led to believe that she was broken, and she is not, says mother Jennifer Mead. It's absolutely ghoulish. Those people had better be arrested. How dare you do something like that to a minor? How dare you? Could you imagine if somebody took your 12-year-old and started confusing them and making important decisions? You are the caretaker. You are the parent. You are in charge, not the state. These stories are everywhere. And that's what I had to share with you today. There's more. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, everyone, for your super chats. Great day. We tested it out. I was going to say, let's test it. We tested it for the win. By the way, please feel free to test it every day, everybody. But thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow on the TDAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. Looking for the folder. There it is. Okay. Thank you, everyone, in comments. And I'll be back tomorrow at noon. As always, I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.